right, Necro. It's fine.
Hello, everybody, and welcome.
Oh my goodness! No, hey, like, be nice here.
I said we were going live.
Are we live right now? Sweet. How y'all doing?
Okay.
You get to start in Medias Res with this. This is like a look behind the curtain. I mean, have you seen Wizard of Oz? That's kind of what this is. You know? You get to see how the magic is made.
Let's try again from the top. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Canadian to the 10th point Canadian Highlander weekly tournament bracket. I am the Red Mage, and joining me this week, as for most week, is Loman02. How goes, Loman?
Oh, it's going great, you know, and if you can tell, you get my comedic relief during this. I've heard I'm a great play-by-play commentator, but you know what? One of the things you don't know about me is I can sure get a person to laugh. That's why you could barely get Red Mage through that introduction without splitting his guts wide open. But you know what you got this week, folks? You got some great Canadian Highlander coming up. You've got, what, 14 players, or are we at 16 this week?
16 today. That is not
players.
only a new record for us, it's so many players. We're going to run 4 rounds of Magic.
4 or 3 rounds?
4. We're going to do 4 today.
All right, there we go. So the tournament's going to be a little bit more elongated. You got 4 rounds of Magic. You know, maybe at some point, maybe a possible break to the finals. Probably not yet. We're just doing 4 rounds. And then we'll break based on points. So Canadian Highlander, it's a 100-card singleton format. If this is the first time that you're joining us to kind of get a purview of what's going on, it is vintage ban list legal. And the most powerful cards throughout the course of Magic's history have a pointing system associated with them, such that each deck can have up to 10 points in that deck. That's kind of to help diversify the format, ensure that not everyone's playing, you know, fully powered Storm Vault, for lack of better terms. So basically, if you can do it in Magic, you can do it in Canadian Highlander. You're going to see a lot of different stuff today. Just as a guessing man myself, you're probably going to see some Turbofog. You're probably going to see some red deck wins. You're probably going to see some Midrange. You may see some Time Vault combo. You can see pretty much anything that you have seen in Magic, even possibly Storm, although that hasn't been a kind of a best in show or best in class over the course of this tournament's history. But that's also a very viable deck. Matter of fact, one of the strongest decks in the format.
Yeah, we haven't seen many people show up with Storm. I know that I think Arakase tried bringing the deck a few times.
Tinker Storm, so they brought, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough deck to learn. It turns out. So it's.
Well, it's so I would say this about that deck specifically, without going on a vast rabbit hole. But it's a deck that, like, if you just pick it up and try to jam it without really looking through it and having fished it and maybe played around with it a bit, you're probably going to struggle with, because there are certain lines that you kind of want to rehearse and practice through. But if you pick the deck up either digitally or manually, you own the deck, and you jam it, 30 to 40 times. Basically, it's like doing homework. If you do your homework on the deck, it's very easy. If you don't do your homework on the deck, I mean, I guess it's anything in life, but if you put 30 to 40
a lot of combo decks specifically tend to be like that, where like you just need to like do your homework, goldfish the deck.
Well, probably more so that. Like, I would say Oracle combo, Time Vault combo, pretty straightforward generally. I mean, like what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, those decks are also hybrid, right? Like the thing in those decks isn't how you combo off, is how you get to the point where you combo off. Is that
sure? It's how you get there and how you disrupt. Like, how do I stop the stuff that will kill me, and how do I stop the stuff that will stop me from killing them? Are really the interesting questions that, if you're like an expert on the Storm deck, like, those are the questions that matter the most, and they involve probably the most judgment-based decision making, as opposed to like technical decision making, where it's like, what is the line? Like, what is the obvious line that works with this chain of 10 cards?
Before we get too deep into figuring this out, I posted round 1. Do we want who do we want to see on the big screen?
I mean, we've got 8 different choices. 8? You go ahead and choose. I don't even know what decks are available to watch from.
That's fair. You know what? Let's watch Croc. Croc always has some stuff brought to the table.
They're always something new. Croc tends to play something new every time. I mean, maybe not per se like new, but like a new deck that they haven't been playing the week prior. I know the prior week they're playing Blue Red Moon, I want to say.
Yeah, they were playing Blue Moon, yeah.
Yep. And I think they did.
After saying that they were going to bring medium white, but
yeah, they're not bringing.
Everybody felt betrayed apart from that.
Although, honestly, I wouldn't put it past Croc to be on medium white now, just to like subvert everyone's expectations and be like, no, I'm not playing that crap until everyone's waiting for it, and then be like, hey, I got medium white. I wouldn't be shocked. I also don't think they're going to be on it, but I mean, there's a chance. But yeah, so they're medium red. I think, or I'm sorry, Blue Red Moon. They went. Did they go 1-2 or 2-1 last time?
Croc went
1-2.
1-2. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I remember. I thought there was an upset round where like you were against a 4-color deck or something like that. And I was like, you know, it must just had good hands or something. I don't
I
know.
cast a lot of recalls and saw a lot of islands.
That'll happen. That's one of the problems with that style of control deck. You just you
Yeah.
end up with hands that don't do anything. Can't close the game out and all that. So, but anyways, yeah, we should see some interesting stuff. So we're gonna watch Croc fight
hear
against
momentarily some Hangouts call noises while I try to set up hand cams, but outside of that, or we're not apparently. What's going on?
It sounds like someone's calling you, Red Mage. Because no
I am calling.
I don't hang out on the Google. It's pretty sad that I've never hung out on the Google, but I know that the hung out on the Google call sign or whatever that is, that call tone.
Yeah, it is okay. I have Croc, and now I'm waiting for another for Bram's hand.
So I gotta ask, is that a red kind of like cowboy and bandit style, like bandana on your light fixture behind you?
It is pink, but yeah, it is.
Oh, it looks red. It is. do you wear it out? Like, do you wear it over your face like an old school robber?
It's been hang out there for
I've always
the
wondered.
longest
Like,
time.
now I'm gonna ask the question because I don't have Magic to talk about yet. So I'm just like I'm curious.
No,
I'm like, do you wear that thing out over your mouth?
The story behind it is that at a certain point, my roommate and I started having this race to try to make as many things as possible in our apartment pink. And at a certain point, his girlfriend showed up with that and hang it to our lamp, and I still have that lamp. I don't even have that roommate anymore, but I have that lamp. So
they left that lamp. It's an interesting lamp. I mean, it's got like cupolas, like a tulip or a plant of some variety.
Yeah.
But I was more curious about the bandana because it looks very red. I mean,
no,
it
is hot pink. That is the.
Oh, okay. All right, it must be the hue on my computer. But I was like, that'd be pretty sweet if you wore it out like during the COVID-19 breakouts. You just like wore it over your face. Like, you were, like,
it
OG
hasn't
bandit.
been washed in a while, but I might break it out. We'll see.
Yeah, there you go. Break it out. Wear a pink bandana. Someone will like it.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I might do that.
It sounds at least funny. I don't know about awesome, but it'd be something.
The two can be similar. Can be overlap.
So Brahms, we're playing as Brahms here. I don't know what Brahms is on. You probably do. My guess would be something that is green based and likely mid range. That tends to be their MO. But they've played a wide variety of decks, so it could honestly be anything as well. But my guess would be like a green X deck of some variety.
I believe Croc's on Teamer Blitz.
No, not team, not Croc. Croc will play anything. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
I meant Brahms.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Croc's on team or something. I don't know if it's Blitz, but it's definitely
that does
team
make
or
sense. It's pretty
stuff.
close to home for Croc. I think Croc's favorite color pie is Teamer, which is not a bad one to like in Canadian Highlander because it's pretty good.
Bram still hasn't shown his hand, but I do have Crocs.
We got Crocs here. That is a mystical dispute. That is one that I've tried a couple decks.
Oko.
I've definitely, the hand is like powerful. It's definitely not a blitz deck. It's more of a mid-range deck. Looking at it, but although it doesn't have misdirection in it,
I was
maybe
looking at the first hand. This is the Molto 6.
Yeah, I mean you keep this hand.
It wasn't as immediate from looking at that, I guess.
Bottom the Cryptic Command or the misdirection is what I would probably end up doing here. I don't know which. But yeah, I think that's a keepable hand. I mean, you got to redraw off the Codal, the snake. You've got an Oko for 3 if you hit your lands. Probably pitch the Cryptic Command here, I would personally, in the dark. Because you have misdirection to protect the Oko on 3, which is kind of nice. I guess you could also see Mystical Dispute, but I mean, if you're in a blue match, Mystical Dispute's going to be relevant when you're a little land light and you don't have a ton of pressure early. So, this hand looks good, though.
Yeah, the people are waiting for me to give them the okay. I in turn am waiting for
Brahms hand.
For Brahms hand. So as soon as that's set up, we should be
Makes
good
sense.
To do.
I'm curious to see what they're on too. I guess it'd be something a little more aggressive than what looks like what Croc's on. But Oko does tend to break the backs of aggressive decks pretty easily.
Yeah.
I remember what the first deck I saw Brahms play was. I think it was like a black-green aggro deck. AKA Black Mold, is what folks in the community tend to call it. But you said Croc is on 6?
Croc's
is going to be on 6?
I saw him mulligan.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess you're right. I think I saw the first hand. It had like a Chandra Torch of Defiance and like a bunch of
yeah.
airballs.
Sorry for this short technical difficulties. We're working to try and so the maps. Brems is
Yeah, and it's kind of
not
something that you're going to
managing to actually share his screen, which is
yeah.
unfortunate.
Moto's a bit awkward from the standpoint that you need to actually visually re-represent it on an overlay from someone else's computer to overlay the TR I'm showing you. So, I mean, it's just as these things grow, you're going to get more and more new players, and you probably expect these sort of delays.
Brahms isn't like Brahms has done this before, but maybe
it's also just kind of a pain in the ass. Too.
Maybe
it's
he was
kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Another thing that may make sense too is to like for this specifically, and this is like I guess some inside pool while we're waiting here, the viewers get to hear it. Maybe it makes sense to get like a waiting screen. I know like they did this. They specifically had to do this. Athena had to do this for the VSL and like all the Super League style stuff.
Yeah,
they had like a wait screen or whatever.
Pause while we set it up. I've considered doing it.
Yeah, they do like a wait screen for like 15 minutes or whatever it takes, or 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and then jump back in. I don't mind BSing in between. You get to look at this cool hand of blue, red, and green cards.
I mean,
I guess right now
it's a lot easier if I'm not doing also commentary, because then what's going on is because then if what's going on is that I'm gonna work in the background and set stuff up, and
I almost said something really mean but kind of funny. Why don't you bring Necro in the booth? I'm sure they already took their round 1 beating. They're going to listen to this.
No, they're going to take a while to lose. Come on.
I'm just kidding. So Necro's one of our players. They play Turbofog. I really think the deck's cool. Like, I give them a little bit of crap just because, like, I don't know. Like, just because it's Turbofog, and it's sweet, and it's funny, and it's not probably, like, the best well-rounded deck, but it's really good at what it beats. They did commentary the one day with me up here, and you were in here too. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, or you just look at it. I mean, there's probably someone else who would do commentary on this.
Yeah, no, there definitely are people that would be willing to do commentary. I have no doubt.
And then again, being fair, like I haven't been the most committed. I'm like, hey, like if I'm around, I'll do it. If I'm not, I won't. But I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a matter of it's kind of a matter of trying like. I know I can rely on you. I want to also figure out somebody that like I want somebody that kind of works well with you in terms of commentary. And also, like, is going to be committed to be there every week. I had a... Oh, there you go.
We got hand cams up. Sweet.
Brems, I will need you to mute yourself in Hangout. Otherwise, we will be hearing what you say during the games. But outside of that, we should be good to go.
God, I hate you, Croc. How did you have it every time?
Man.
Although I would kind of find that funny. I'd laugh at that. I'd be like, oh, great.
Okay. Oh. I mean, it would realistically be funny, but...
Yeah, it would be. Like, God damn it, Croc. You have it every time. Every goddamn time.
You goddamn locksuck.
Oh, that's a Riftstone portal. All right. We're looking at Dredge, I think. Yeah. That looks like some Dredge cards.
Oh, the root potato special?
I don't know if it's their list. It's probably pretty close to it.
Yeah, I know
I put a bit of time into like building that deck. And it's probably within 10 cards of theirs. Like it's heavily based on the Jund build of Dredge. It's a good deck. It's fine. It's a fine deck. Like it's
probably it's a deck that like people weren't able to make work until a person called Root Potato actually managed
like, I think the deck worked before. I even think like with like Root Potato's build, like I think it was probably one of the better builds at the time. I think the biggest thing is like the thing that I think makes Dredge really good is like the ability, the choices in cards that you play that are already good cards. So like your Abrupt Decays, your Assassin's Trophies, your Lightning Bolts. Like the strategy itself is fine, but it's a little bit slow. is kind of the problem, and it can get kind of turboed down in the early game by like red deck wins, death and taxes. Obviously, it's disruptible because it's a graveyard-based synergy, or strategy, but it doesn't like per se just get wiped out by that. So it's an interesting deck. Like I do think it's quite good. I do think that mid-range, like fair blue mid-range, is going to tend to struggle against it, especially if it gets a foothold in the graveyard. Right now, what Brahms is probably looking for is a way to just get cards in their bin, because if they can get the Stinkweed Imp in their bin, and likely the Hogak, they can probably set up a situation where, and maybe even the Vengevine, they can probably set up a situation. Well, there's a way to start it off. But if they can start dredging, they'll get a pretty large advantage.
How all-in is this deck? Do they play Bazaar?
Dredge, it's mid-range. Dredge is mid-range. It does play Bazaar, but like it's kind of a fair Bazaar, so to speak. It's not like Bazaar. It doesn't act like Bazaar acts in Vintage Dredge, which is just to say that like you'll lose by turn 3 if you don't do anything about it. Or turn 2 even, but generally turn 3 is about average, I think. With this deck, like
Which is
Bazaar is
for
really
Vintage,
helping set up.
By the way,
What's that now?
you lose by turn 2 by turn 3, which Vintage is kind of slow. Dredge is considered kind of like a slowish deck, closest to the combo.
Yeah. It's just it's a deck that I don't know where it stands right now in Vintage. I know historically it's always been slower than Storm. Like it's not as fast a deck as Storm.
Storm is one of the few. Is one of the few blue decks that can have an advantageous turn 1 like Dredge matchup on game 1, because they.
No, I mean Storm will beat Dredge in the first game, generally speaking. The thing with Dredge is like it forces historically, and I can't like really say. I kind of like playing the beast down here, the questing beast, just smashing face. I think they just need to kill him.
Does have
lots
of text.
What's that?
It's
mostly just about pressuring them out. Like the Dredge deck, like again, like needs to kind of set up, and if you don't let them set up, like your cards will be better if you're able to set up.
Yeah.
Like here, like they're just they can take the turn developing like an underwhelming threat, or they can try to
slam on then
or they can build their graveyard up, and if they build their graveyard up, they're not impacting the board, and the board's 7 power. You know, on the turn cycle after, it's going to be 11 power. I'm sorry, 10 power.
Yeah, and actually, Brahms agreed that he cannot keep up with the Hosting Beast, and
you really need to develop. Like, you really need your developmental turns. Now, this is a powerful hand because it has access to the Hermit Druid, which is an auto win. The Dredge deck. Yeah, this looks very similar to like the build that I have, the build that Ben Wheeler's running, the build that Root Potato I think built the groundwork for, and I think still runs to this date. Where if the Hermit Druid resolves, they'll end up looking for a basic. Their deck does not contain basic lands, so they will mill their whole deck. There are several creatures that'll come back from the bin, to include Narcomoebas, to include Bloodghast if you put a land into play, and also they're just going to have this Imp and then this Hermit Druid ideally in play, and they'll use Dread Return to return a Lotleth Giant, which does damage or does life loss to your opponent equal to the number of creature cards in your bin, which is like somewhere around 40. Like 35 to 40, somewhere in that range. Mm-hmm. That's a lightning bolt, so that bolt will take care of the Druid. Yeah. Although
that is that is one of the big problems with the Hermit Druid combo, which is powerful, but it's slow.
I think it's great in this deck though. It's very incidental.
For sure. In this deck doesn't like you don't have to like the not playing any basics for a 3-color deck. It tends to be not that great of a sacrifice. Like
no, they didn't do anything here. That's really odd to me. They didn't do anything. Like, why do you think they didn't do anything there? I don't know. Maybe they F6'd.
Yeah, it's weird. I would have probably deployed something.
Now they're going to get to develop the Pyromancer. Like, the cool thing about playing the Hermit out here was that, like, that's a good draw. Although they pondered, so they probably knew they had it unless they shuffled it. But,
Gozmit already finished his game.
Well, it's red deck wins. What do you expect? I mean,
no problem. Yeah, red deck does win, it turns out.
It's a very good deck. So the problem with not playing the Hermit Druid out here is that their opponent's not forced just a Lightning Bolt, which means they cannot cast the Young Pyromancer out, and now they're going to get some value off of it. Maybe they thought they needed the extra land drop. I don't know.
Yeah, the other thing
they can't bolt here
is that you're kind of forcing them if they want to develop to actually
the other big thing is like the Putrid Imp could have been discarding the Thug and allowing them to dredge for a couple
also
turns
the
now.
Goldsteed, which has more value in the graveyard anyway.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things, right? Like you could be discarding the Dredge card. You know, they just drew the Ghoul Steed, I think this turn or the turn prior.
I thought they drew a land.
But they may have. Well, they drew land this turn. They drew Ghoulsteed last turn.
Yeah.
They may want to be hitting land drops. Maybe that's the reason they're playing it this way. I think I probably would have looked on one of those turns to discarded the Golgari Thug to get a Dredge off and develop options for myself. But that's just me. I think I would have looked to do that. I mean, they already have the Hermit. The Hermit's dead. It's just dead as dead here. I mean, it's going to preclude them from playing their Oko.
Yeah, the Hermit's going to get...
And the Force of Negation will mop up this Animate Dead. And now the problem you're going to run into here is that because they didn't develop it on turn 2, Croc's going to be getting Pyromancer value throughout the course of this game. Whereas, like, I think they would have been put into a spot where, like, they would not have had access to attacking this turn. And,
it would definitely have been a lot harder for them to like find a spot to deploy the Pyromancer.
Correct.
if they were like
well,
because on turn 2 instead of the Pyromancer they would have forced to bolt. You cannot let your opponent on top with.
Yeah, it would have been the turn after is what it would have been. Yeah. It would have been one less token over time, which is relevant. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like
one token matters. It's absolutely.
Yeah, well, it's really more so the time they have on the board too. But Croc's not attacking. I assume we're going to see something get. I mean, Animate Dead. This is going to get Force of Negation. Then they're going to bolt.
I mean, you don't even necessarily need to Force of Negation it. You can just deploy the Oko and Elk it next turn.
You could. I think I just like Force of Negationing it, but that's just me.
If you draw land, you're gonna have Magmatic Sinkhole as backup.
Yeah. I just don't think the True Name Nemesis is that relevant in their hand. It looks like they're going to pitch it anyways. I think I would save the Snappy, get rid of the True Name. The True Name doesn't matter that much.
Yeah, they did pitch.
Yeah. It's just one of those. It's a card that in this hand, like, would you rather have a True Name or an Oko? I'd rather have an Oko. Well, so it's like they're really fighting for the same mana slot, whereas Snapcaster is going to scale a little better over time.
¿Por qué no los dos?
What's that now?
Why not both?
Well,
you could have both.
Right now you're trapped on 3 lands. Like, if you draw land, you could double spell with them. But I mean, to me, it's like, by the time like you're casting that True Name Nemesis, it's going to be 2 turn cycles later, and like they're probably already going to be dead. Is kind of the thing. If they're not, like, you're probably losing.
Ops to Magmatic Sinkhole.
Makes perfect sense.
The guy. I mean, to be fair, I'm actually kind of a fan of this play because in this when you are the control in a matchup, you kind of want to use your removal.
I don't think Croc is the controller. I think Croc's the beatdown.
To kill the threats that cannot be answered otherwise, and that's
Croc's the beatdown here, though. Croc's the beatdown here. Like, Croc is 100% the beatdown right now.
But, I mean, yeah, sure. I think that kind of still applies, though, right? Where like you still want to. You want to use their counterspell to answer threats that you cannot deal with otherwise, whereas your removal can be used for answer threats that you can cleanly 1-for-1 with removal, which hopefully there aren't too many. So you're kind of looked in. Like I think I agree with this.
So like if they have it. If they have it, you're forcing them to use it their turn, doing something that's not board impacting, and you're maintaining momentum is kind of my thing. Like, I think Croc's hand was very well set up to gain and maintain momentum. So I just like trading off resources. The downside to doing it second, to Force Negationing second, is that you don't get to Force Negation something, and or they save that Lightning Bolt, which they probably should have done for their turn. So you have to hard cast the Force Negation. So you're relying on your opponent to misplay there, right? So it's like, yeah, I mean, like, I get your point, but I don't think it's... I think you want to tie up their mana as much as possible. And if there's an opportunity, like, it's pretty low opportunity cost. And because their opponent cast that spell specifically on their own turn, the Force Negation was relevant. If they had not, then you're put in a spot where you can tap out for it, and then you're not developing your Oko, etc. So
Brahms can actually sacrifice these Thug to put the Druid back on top, and now with this Oko around, that doesn't do.
Yeah, I don't think you get out of this situation, to be honest with you. I played the Dredge deck a bit. It's a good deck, but I don't think it gets out of this spot. I think it's just with a Lightning Bolt Snapcaster and pretty significant board advantage. I think this game is
hi there, Mystic Confluence. If only you were.
It's not a bad one. Not a bad one at all.
Well, it's bad because Croc still only has 4 lands, but
they'll find their land. I mean, it's one of those cards.
Yeah, it's gonna get there. It's just
most other things because if I find my land, then it's gonna ensure that I win because I'll just bounce all of their stuff and just attack them for lethal. It is a card that, in my estimate, is getting a little bit slow for the format. As odd as that is to say, it's a very good card, but it's very slow. It's very awkward.
It's super clunky.
Yeah, the timing of it is just tough. But yeah, Snapcaster Bolt seems pretty good.
Oko makes an idiot.
Yep.
Croc slams with all these stupid elementals.
Yep, makes sense.
Golgari Thug blocks and puts a creature back on top. The target.
Yeah, it'll be the Hermit. The Hermit will get put back on top. That's going to incentivize Brahms from not dredging next turn with the Golgari Thug, so they will draw more than likely into the Hermit Druid. Croc will be able to Snapcaster Bolt the Hermit Druid, have 3 additional power on the board, and actually more than that. I mean, they can Oko on one of their elementals to make another 3/3.
Do you even want to draw the Hermit Druid in this board?
I think as far as like outs to win this game, it's probably your best out. Now,
there's an active Oko.
Assuming that your opponent is playing correctly, probably not. I mean, like if your opponent's playing correctly, they're going to know that that's what's going to happen, or they could expect that's the thing that could happen.
Yeah,
but it is like the best. It's the best Hail Mary play, right? Like if you get that out and it resolves its trigger and you're not dead, you win the game if they don't have a counter spell. Like even if they do, I think it's pretty hard to get through it.
They chose to dredge the Golgari Thug there.
Yep.
Nether Shadow is gonna come back if another creature shows up.
Which, it seems likely it will. This thing's getting bolted, so Nether Shadow will come back.
The Putrid Imp
but I
think
think they're just dead. I think they're just dead to the board because this Oko can make one of the 1/1s a 3/3, and they can just bounce this and kill them. Yes, so they are very dead now. Yep. So we make a 3/3. Got a pretty lethal on board. I think so. So it's 4, 6, 10, 12.
6,
we only
7,
have 12,
8, 9, 10,
11,
11, 12. Yeah, it would be 12 if the Golgari Thug gets bounced, which I'm assuming we're gonna see Croc do. Brahms is empty-handed, so there isn't much that can be done there. Like there isn't much he can do to stop this Mystic Confluence from happening, and I think that's gonna be the game.
Yep, that looks like it's it. Nope. Dredge is kind of an interesting deck too. Like I think it's one of those decks that like the first times I played Root Potato with it, I don't think they were like they had 100% honed like the theory for how the deck was played, and then playing with them later on, it's a deck they pretty much exclusively play. They definitely strengthened their strategy with it, and in a lot of those like Blue X matchups, we're really able to cement wins. Like in general, I think they're pretty good against that style of deck. Croc had pretty good draws, but I think in general the Dredge deck can put the screws to that style of deck.
Who do you want to jump to?
We
have.
Don't check out Gozmit. Oh wait, no.
We have Cheetah versus Avius. We have Blahguy versus Evermist. We have Luca versus JPSS. Bailite versus Einstein as an option.
Let's check out Bailite versus Einstein. My guess is that's going to be Abzan Midrange versus Academy. Still going, so it should be an interesting one.
Yeah, that looks like you were correct.
Nope. That looks like an end of the game too. That's a top with a Paradox engine. Is it quite end of the game? Not quite.
Yeah, they have top and Paradox engine, but they don't have.
They don't have a draw. They don't have the.
They don't have a way to redraw the top every time. So, if they find like a Mystic Forge, that's gonna be the end. If they find
with 2 cards in hand and a look at the top 3 on upkeep, they're probably okay. Probably in an okay spot. So I would say Bailite probably has to kill this engine, or else it's very likely the game is over on the next turn. There's a Maelstrom Pulse. It's a Mind Twist. My guess is their hand's not that great, but I'm curious to see what they pitch here.
They discarded Paradoxical Outcome, Breeding Pool, Reshape. So actually that was...
Well, Reshape was already in the bin. That they used Reshape to get the
they only
Paradox
had 2
engine.
cards in hand, right.
Yeah.
Well, Paradoxical Outcome was a draw.
Yeah, it gives you some draws, although you really don't want to bounce 2 5-drops. You bounce the top.
No, you would probably... you get to draw 2 cards with top, and you can bounce your defense grid, I guess, to draw 1.
Yep, and top, so yeah.
Yeah, top draws you 2.
My guess is this is a pretty awful matchup for Abzan. Abzan has been pretty dominant And it's I think mostly because you haven't seen a ton of like combo decks, you haven't seen a ton of Hoof, you haven't seen a ton of is this game? No, not quite game.
Oh,
Just
that
makes a
is
bunch
a
of idiots.
Retrofeeder Foundry? Yeah.
Yeah, just make stuff and things.
I think that is a perfectly accurate description of what that card does.
Yep, just keeps on making stuff and things. 1/1s into 1/1 flyers into 4/4 to untap
This card
themselves.
was I've seen
very
this
good.
card played in Legacy Ninjas. Actually,
Yeah, it's fine there. It just makes 1/1s and you send them in and they die.
no, it makes 4/4s. Like basically, the joke is that you have to play Ornithopter. And,
that's right, because you have Ornithopter in your deck.
Like because you have 4 Ornithopters and
Yeah,
4 Changeling Outcasts in your deck, right? Those are Thopters, so you can just your back solution is you play the Retrofitter's Foundry and crack one and like here's a 4/4.
The card's also just acceptable in that deck because it just makes idiots that can attack, and like if you have blockers, great. If you don't have blockers, then you turn them into ninjas. You know, it's a really good card. Honestly, it's a very good card. Like I'm making a little bit of light of it by saying it just makes stuff and things, but it's a quite strong card. Especially in decks like this where you are a hyper mana deck, and as you can see right now, if they play cards, they keep on making mana off of their Gilded Lotus.
Yep.
This is actually a pretty light rock draw. There's not a lot of rocks. There were not a lot of rocks in their hand as far as 2 mana producers.
Yeah, but typically
speaking, like Paradox
to activate the Foundry. So
yeah, typically the engine can go infinite in many ways. There are many loops with the engine that will just make infinite mana, and if you have a sync for it, you generally win the game.
Yep.
The one downside of Paradox Academy is the deck's very strong. It's a very strong deck. I think what tends to keep it from being a top deck is that a top deck in the format is that its consistency is a little lower. So it has feast or famine draws where you can definitely dead end out a little more often than you can in other decks. That's kind of one of the issues that like older versions of Hoof used to have, and I would say even that's starting to disappear a bit from the Academy decks because you have cards like Urza. You have cards like Psy that actually approximate a mid-range game plan pretty well, while still very much so synergizing with having access to whole boatloads of mana development.
As the deck gets more redundant pieces, their consistency is going up, right? That's kind of true of
Correct.
every deck. But it's true that the Academy deck has gotten more, has gotten a lot of very interesting pieces in the last year specifically.
Yep. Yeah, specifically Urza, Psy. There's Emery is fairly decent in the deck, probably better than Eggs, but she's fine in this. Yeah, and right now you're kind of seeing one of the issues that like the Abzan deck can run against. Is Abzan's a fair strategy at its heart. It's good, but it's fair.
This Titania is a very powerful card, for example, but Einstein will be able to chump these 5/3s for approximately forever.
And when Einstein
in the meantime, even in the few turns that Bailites get, in the meantime, Mystic Forge makes it actually over.
Yep, that's game. Yeah, that's game over. So what's going to happen here is the Mystic Forge allows you to play artifacts on the top of your deck. They have Sensei's Divining Top on top of their deck, so they'll play it, and they'll untap all of their mana-producing artifacts, netting 4 mana each time they do it because they have a Gilded Lotus plus a Box Opal, and they'll draw their whole deck. So they're going to tap all this for mana again, flip their top. Okay, yep, Einstein won that one. They'll go into game 3, but the top will go back to the top of their deck. They're netting 4 mana every time. They replay it with the Mystic Forge. And basically just draw their whole deck, which is a pretty good strategy.
I'm gonna see if for the next game we get.
Yeah, well, they obviously Bailite was able to win one of the games. I think what it's going to come down to is early discard. You're going to hope for some mulligans out of your opponent if you're on the fair side of this, because their deck is more prone to mulliganing, and it's a little more detrimental for them to mulligan. And then you're hoping to have early hand attack is really important. Early to mid-game hand attack to kind of stop. I think stopping their mana progression in this matchup, if you're on the Abzan deck, is probably what you want to be up to. Because once they get to the mana, their mana is very threatening. They have stuff like Stroke of Genius in their deck, Blue Sun Zenith maybe, stuff like that, Capsize. Whereas if you could limit that, or if you have access to like some hate tools like Collector Roof, or Cannonball, or Spirit of the Labyrinth, you can kind of stop them. I'm gonna take a quick break though, bud, and use the restroom. I will be right back. All right?
Yeah, take your time. I'm gonna.
Right.
I'm seeing if I can actually set some hand cams up with this player for game 3. So So we're gonna have them pause real quickly. Bailite, as usual, is extremely professional. He's like, yeah, okay, let's send that as a endgame, and his endgame is set up in approximately 13 seconds. 30 seconds, like not even. Like his endgame was up immediately. So that's neat. Einstein hopefully joins him soon. In the meantime, let me set up Bailites. And yeah, I have both. Sweet.
Alrighty, back. We trying to get hand cams for this game?
Yeah, we already did. I'm setting them up.
Okay.
And yeah. No. They I told them that they're good to go whenever they want to.
Yeah, the thing with the Academy deck, you want to kill it fast. All right, this is a hand that has Academy and a Mox, which already looks good. It has a Windfall. The hand's a little bit big right now. Is that a mold of 4?
No. There's
Okay.
more cards in there.
Okay. I mean, those 4 cards. If that was a 4-card hand, I'd probably keep that.
But there's more goodies. Oh, it was a mold to 6. It looks like no, it was
that
a mold.
hand's still really good.
Oh yeah,
like they're gonna demolish their opponent's hand and give them a random hand. That's very good on the play.
Yeah, I mean, Windfall doesn't care how much you mulligan, right? You only care about how much your opponent mulliganed.
Yeah. Which they did, but then you just muck their hand. Makes sense. Well, at a minimum, they got a Lingering Souls in the bin. Probably not gonna matter, but and they're OP. Like Einstein drew kind of just all stuff and things. Emery's interesting if they can find like a memory jar or even an expedition map would be really good with Emery if it lives. Against Abzan as a fair mid-range deck, it probably won't generally tend to live.
Yeah.
Interesting choice on the land play there. I wonder why they didn't want to develop the Scavenging Ooze out.
Yeah,
what the reason was.
is actually deceptively useful against this deck. Like they have a fair amount of graveyard recursion. Not them like infinite, but they have some amount.
Yeah.
Lingering Souls doesn't present pressure, so.
Yeah, I'm curious about that too. I think I would have developed Ooze first, but I don't know.
I agree with you, but
they could also be worried about like a time twister type effect. I mean, I guess it's about the same anyways. Because they lose access to the souls, but I mean, yeah. I think I'd rather have Ooze dev'd. All right, so they get this. Do they find something irrelevant? This is actually an important mill here because they don't have anything good in hand.
Yeah, the Academy deck is usually just vomiting its hand out very quickly and relies on this draw, on these draw 7s to basically get resources back.
It's just a hyper mana deck. What did they mill? Can we see their bin?
Whose bin do you want to see?
Einstein's, because they milled with Emery, and that's actually really relevant.
Oh, right. They found the Paradox engine actually.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good one to find.
Then some lands.
So next
including
turn,
an artifact land if that becomes relevant. But
so we actually see this is actually pretty relevant here. Like if they had played the Ooze last turn, they'd be able to get rid of that Paradox engine, which is pretty big. Like that's honestly
Emery needs to untap right before.
Huh? No. This already happened, right? Because they played the souls out, and then the next turn, Einstein milled the Paradox engine. Now is going to cast it and have it on board, and at this point the Ooze can't deal with it anymore. Yeah. But they're still looking to top deck, but they can actually also put counters on their Coalition Relic there if they really wanted to. But I don't think it matters all that much. Yeah. So I think that's kind of That may come to haunt them, depending on what Einstein draws too. If Einstein just draws bricks, then they're in an okay spot. I mean, if they draw like a Sensei's Dividing Top or a Reshape or those style of effects, Fabricate, the game will likely just end. Not likely, it will. Again, don't develop the Scavenging Ooze. or a land. I wonder
Yeah,
why.
with an Emry on the field, you would be severely tempted.
They drew a land, though. I wonder why they're not developing the scavenging ooze. Is there like an issue with the hand, Cam?
Croc 120, right?
Correct. Croc beat Dredge 2-0.
I don't think that it... Yeah, they don't have no?
They didn't play a land, and they did not play the ooze. Say like F6 or something after their combat
No, the
stuff.
hand cam... the hand cam is showing me the ooze getting...
I just don't understand why we're not playing it. Okay, well, we're going to fetch now.
I'm assuming that we're going to play the ooze now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I don't think they'd be quite dead yet, but I think they would have been in a forced block situation if the ooze had been played earlier, but...
Yeah.
All right, fetch. And if they miss this turn, they're just dead. So this is a draw or die situation right here for the Academy deck, and it go either way. This is one of the things I always say about Academy. Like, Academy's a very powerful deck, but like for me, individually as a player, like it's just you're living off your top deck. Like you're not, you develop your development. All right, and they're dead. That is a Glimmer Void. To my knowledge, they do not have access to anything unless. What do we have here? Are we just tapping all of our lands to be scary and then concede? I feel like that's what we're doing.
No, there's a Candelabra that's gonna make even more.
Yeah, make a lot of mana.
Yeah,
All right,
you get your land back. Yeah. I approve.
Yep.
And Bailite has got it.
That's the thing, right? I mean, with the Academy, the Academy's very powerful, but it can miss. It misses, and sometimes you as a pilot, just it's tough for me because if I miss there, I'm like, well, what am I gonna do? Like the deck's powerful, but what are you gonna do? But hopefully we can see more games of it this time. All right, there's a future site that would have been pretty good for them, but yeah, didn't draw it. So cool. Bailite gets there with Abzan. Generally, don't expect the mid-range deck
that's
to win
gonna
that
be
one.
it for this round. So let me bring us back to the booth as soon as I figure out how to do that. We're very professional here. All right. Welcome back to the booth, everybody.
For those that were curious, that's what I actually look like in real life. That's what I really look like in real life. I have blue magical energy flying out of my fucking head.
Yeah. No, I don't think anybody was doubting that.
Self-portrait, really. Take all my selfies sideways.
we watched some stuff.
Watched quite a bit of stuff. We saw some Dredge versus some Rug mid-range. Saw some Academy versus some Abzan.
Just ran the Dredge deck over there. It were just faster and more.
Yeah. I think with the Dredge deck there was just to be frank, to be honest, I think there was probably some different lines that could have been taken to develop some more value and velocity, speed out of the graveyard, especially in Game 2. Game 1 looked rough. Game 2, in my opinion, looked like there was probably a few more lines that could have been taken to pitch cards out of hand via the Putrid Imp and develop some velocity and some choices in the bin. Now, given Dredge is relying on milling, right? It's self-mill to some extent, to a certain number. But if you hit the right stuff on those mills, you could just end games with Hogax and stuff like that really quick.
All right.
Yeah, Joe, I don't know. I think maybe they F6 post combat. Yeah, press F2 post combat.
Yeah, they
that
say
makes sense to
press
me.
F2
I figured
too many times. Yeah.
Because one of the things I'll do when I'm playing Moto is if I just want to attack first before I go to my second main, I'll F6 because there's an auto stop in the attacker's step, and you just turn your stuff sideways. And before you turn your stuff sideways, you turn off auto yields, and then just it's a time saving mechanism. That's my guess what they were doing.
Yeah. We have. Round 2 ready to go. I just posted it. The top tables for this one are Croc versus Lucas, Balex Belson versus Gozmit, Blahguy versus WolfgangCloud, and Evios versus Bailite. What do we want to watch? We have some Rakdos Aggro versus Wolfgang is probably on some sort of red deck.
You watch that. That's good aggressive magic. That sounds good. Something we haven't seen yet.
Sure, let's watch some people go fast then.
Today, at least. Wolfgang, I don't know what Wolfgang's on because we didn't watch their last games. My guess would be some sort of artifact stompy deck or a red base deck. But I could either go that way or Jeskai artifact stompy. I could see a workshop weenie list. But they're generally a very aggressive player. And Blahguy has been pretty similar, like like a Rakdos kind of.
Blahguy strikes me as the guy that has his deck on MTGO and curates his deck, and that's his deck, and that's what he plays.
Yeah, the forever deck person.
He's been doing. He's been playing the same, like very similar list pretty much every week.
Yeah.
Which like I do the same, right? Like I have like a deck or two, and those are the decks I play, and I don't really. Like it's a perfectly respectable thing to do. I'm not. Actually, that's the people that we have had the most all of our people that have done really well with our various seasons have all been deck specialists. We have had Gozmit won season 3 on the back of playing red deck queens for the whole season, and we've had Rakasi. Winning season 4 on the back of playing his blue-black tempo deck pretty much every season. That's been working out really well.
There's been players who've gone away from that paradigm, though. I mean, if you look at like the final, what was it, season 3, I think you call it? Like Rami was in there, and I think Rami was playing with a Bant Blink deck, and I'm almost 95% positive like they didn't play that deck throughout the season all the time. They played it like once or twice, I think.
Yeah, they played it. They played it a few times.
And they were in the finals,
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of trying things. Like, I would be a fan of trying things out during the season if you have the funds to do so. But also, I think once the finals show up, I think you like dial down and play the deck that you're familiar with, and you play the deck that you think you're gonna have the best.
I don't know. I mean, like to me, it's all about fun. I mean, it's an unprized event. Like heck, I was in the season 3 event, and like I was playing what I consider a fun deck. Like
that's fair.
Like,
but also, you didn't want to be there. I had to basically drag you in and convince you.
Well, I mean, my thing was this: like, I had only played like 2 events. I only played 2 events in your season to make numbers for your events, and I'd done pretty well in both. I think I went like 2-1 and 3-0. I think I won one and like went 2-1 another with like Death and Taxes list. And then like you're like, oh, you're in the finals. I'm like, well, I mean, like I didn't really want to win it because like there's some players like like Gozmit have been showing up to every event. Like Rami had been showing up to most of the events. I think they started like mid season. And like I really didn't want to win it, but like, then I kind of do. So I played like a joke deck. And I figured I get killed. Really fast. Like I was like, I played.
You ran the gauntlet all the way up to the grand finals.
I made Sui medium. Well, I beat the finalist deck. So like, all right, beat you. But then I was like, I don't want to win this. Like I don't like care like about winning it, and I just want to have fun. And like I was having fun, and I was winning with Sui Black. So I don't know. Like I think you're not wrong. Like I think
players I'm waiting for them. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the player. Like you play what you enjoy. Like if you enjoy one thing specifically, or if you're most comfortable with a certain thing, then do what you do. For me, like I don't know. Like I just like jumping around in decks too much. I like playing too many different things. There's very few decks that I personally don't enjoy playing. One of the ones we actually just saw, I don't enjoy playing Paradox Academy. I don't enjoy playing Hoof, just because I think their median game plan, like the median draws, are like just, I don't know. I feel like you just don't matter as much as a player. For me is kind of like a letdown because I'm like, I want to be relevant as a player. I don't want to just draw my hands and have them play themselves. And I'm not saying that's always the case. Like there are certainly decisions that are involved in those decks, but I think the propensity of games that you play with them your decisions will tend to matter a little less than they will in other decks. But that's just an opinion, everyone's free to their opinions on it. All right. So we have got, is that an Adra odds maker? No, it's some other.
No, that is a Stormfist Crusader, I believe.
That's right. That's the one that draws people cards and everyone takes a damage or life loss off of it.
Yeah.
That one. Okay. You got a boom.
It's the one from Midrange.
So this looks like a red deck wins. I think in general, red deck wins is going to be favored versus Rakdos, but Rakdos will have like slightly more powerful creatures. That's not to say that like Dread Wanderer is exceedingly powerful in the aggressive mirrors. It's really more so just to watch unsuccessful. The JIT is going to be what's relevant here, and once we know Wolfgang's hand,
JPSS is a hell of a card.
It is, but it's slow, right? Apart. Like right now, they're going to be getting free cards off this. Cards they can probably use in this matchup, especially if it's like burn removal. That's a strip mine too, which is pretty rugged. Jit is really expensive, and they have a burn spell in hand that we can see. And if there's a Jit that's developed on the board on turn 2, then the removal spell will probably eat up essentially 4 mana that does nothing to impact them.
Yeah, that is definitely true. However, it is also true that if Jit does get to do its thing, this is a match that Jit can just break right open if you actually get it to start accumulating value.
If you stabilize. Jit is the control player's card in this matchup. You need to stabilize with it. I wouldn't be shocked here if we either develop Threat or Dreadbore. Just Dreadbore this card advantage card. One of these 2 card advantage cards. Of note, the Dread Wanderer can block.
The Dread Wanderer can block. Yeah, it's one of the ones that enters tapped.
It's just not a great blocker because it tends to come into play tap. It doesn't tend to. It always comes into play tapped unless you have something that untaps it.
Even then it tends to play tapped, and then you untap it.
Wouldn't be shocked to just see Threat leave up the bolt, the Searing Spear, as it were. They may just Searing Spear this thing off the board now so it can't block and then get another card on their bow mat and then next turn attack, sack after strip mining for 1. The problem with this line is you're losing a little bit of equity on your on buffing up your 1/2, your prowess threat.
Yeah,
I don't mind leaving it up.
Yeah. I mean, there is an argument that you kind of want to empty your hand as fast as possible so that this electronic tomato actually gets...
What I really like doing here is hanging back, because they likely have burn, right? If I'm on the Rakdos side, I'm like, all right, you got burn in hand. You didn't do anything this last turn. You didn't attack in. You're looking to get equity out of your card. And I like leaving up this Kolaghan's Command to blow up an artifact and blow up this creature. So if they go for a Searing Spear EOT, or if they go for it main, you can stack it up basically in response to the prowess trigger with the Kolaghan's Command to do 2 and then blow up an artifact and kill both their threats, which is really powerful. I don't like just slamming it here. I think slamming it is wrong, but we'll see what they do.
I will be honest that I wanted to bring the electronic tomato on the card reader, and I don't remember what the card is actually named. I just cannot remember anything.
So we are going to see them slam a Kolaghan's Command here, which is going to get blown out. It's not blown out, but I mean you're only getting 1-for-1 advantage off of it. I do think the right play was to wait on it. Just hold it up and just wait. Now the strip mine could be used to kind of screw up timing on it, but at a minimum, they're losing their draw off of this. They're probably blowing up their threat, would be my guess. Yep, that makes sense. And they'll probably strip mine next turn, depending on what they draw, to take them off of black mana, which is going to mean they can't double spell with their threat plus shit. So expectation is here. All right, they have this thing. This thing is actually not great in this matchup.
Yes, this thing.
Yeah, the new age Jackal Pup, Fire Ring Satyr. I
don't think Fire Ring Satyr qualifies as new anymore.
Wow, it's new comparatively to Jackal Pup.
To Jackal Pup, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was the card I compared it to. Jackal Pup's like the OG. Well, I guess Ironclaw Oryx is the OG, but close enough. So they develop their threat. Next turn, they're looking to go to 4 mana and then get a Jit hit in. So they're going to take if their opponent doesn't draw anything, if they just draw another land or something like that, they could take.
I have a 5 gorgeous Friday FNM promo Jackal Pup in my cube that is signed by Engineering. I treasure that.
Yeah, I asked play that engineering. I think it's wrong to play it, but I still play that. Oh, that was a decent one. I mean, you're still going to develop the Jit here, right? Slam. I just slam. I developed this Jit and slam. I mean, if they had burn, they're going to clear my board and attack me last turn. Unless they drew it right now and it's instant speed. So now I think it's smart to take the risk on this Jit, and it's going to pay off. If they drew instant speed burn like a shock, then that really sucks. You're going to lose your whole turn cycle. But if you don't, then the game's probably split.
Even more rough.
It also is menace. It needs to be.
I mean, it's even made more rough by the fact that next turn, Croc will probably develop this Falconwrath Noble, and that can be that the Fork Bolt can clear that. Can get the 2-for-1 off of Noble plus 5.
No, Wolfgang's losing this game, more than likely. I mean, there are draws they have in their deck that could get them out of it, but they're probably losing this game. They're not in a good spot.
Noble. Sorry, not Falconwrath Noble. Falconwrath Noble.
No, I got you. I get you. They're probably just going to Jit it, be my guess.
Which
Maybe
one
not.
is
Maybe they just
Falcon
did
Wrath
this.
Noble?
Falconwrath Noble, I believe, is a 2/2 that costs.
Oh, is that the 2/2
black
with
2.
flying that like has the?
No. You're thinking of
No, that's Falcon
maybe
Wrath
Falconwrath Aristocrat is the 4/1 flying that has haste.
No.
You can
Falcon Wrath
sacrifice-
Noble is the hat I was thinking about. It's a 2/2 with flying with the blood painted ability.
Oh, this one. Okay, all right.
Yeah, this card's I played this card in Pauper Cube. It's really good.
A blood artist. Yeah.
Blood artist. Yeah. Oh, I never changed the deck. The names. Sorry. Thanks, Brahms, for letting me know. I'll fix it right now.
Yep. So now we're seeing Jit do its thing.
Here at the 10th point, only the most professional layout editing.
Yeah, I think so. Like, the red deck can, if they draw like a burn spell this turn, that's a burn spell. They can remove this threat. Yeah, that can remove a threat. Now, what they're hoping for is that like they can threat, and their opponent just draws goose eggs like lands.
Or actual goose eggs.
Yeah, or just I guess eggs would work.
Like actual goose eggs would gain them life and draw them cards, right?
It's correct. Well, it's golden goose egg, right? The golden egg or whatever.
Like golden egg, yeah.
Basically, not creatures. Any creature is a live draw. Basically, the only bad draws in Blahguy's deck are lands. That's a clamp. That can, if given the time and happening before. All right, so there's gonna.
Oh boy, is that the Brohen? Is this the battle of Brohen equipment? Clamp versus Cheetah?
Yeah. In this matchup, I think Jit will tend to win, and this Fatal Push is savage to stop the card draw off of it. Yeah, Jit just is going to stop most of the creatures that would die to Clamp. It's going to kill them in response to the equipping of it, which ties up more mana.
Ooh.
Given the Clamp happening a little earlier, that's pretty good.
How about we give this thing a bunch of bodies?
I think as long as they're not just drawing lands, like their percentages are probably high 95th, 96%, right? Like if they draw like Fiery Confluence and can sweep the board and blow up the Jit, do 1/1, do 1 and 1 to all creatures, and then blow up an artifact, they could possibly win this. Fiery Confluence is like their one outer, though, I think. Eidolon probably doesn't do it. Matter of fact, it just dies to the board. But I might just save it there. I mean, I guess it saves you damage by playing it. There's the golden egg. That is a magical card.
Hey, that card actually is just plain eggs, unsurprisingly.
Yeah, card's fine. It's a fine card in a deck that wants to run eggs.
Yeah, I mean, in eggs, it actually, when it was printed, it is something the deck wasn't capable of doing before, because now it allows you to gain infinite life off of your eggs loops.
No. So they get to incinerate here, which is going to kill off this 2/2.
Ooh, Tiny Chandra.
Yup. That's good. That can draw cards. Fortunately, there's
I'm
a shit in
surprised
play.
that the card says play, honestly.
Now, what I'm curious about is, do you blow up the 2/2 that makes 1, or in response to a Jit pump, do you blow up the Deathrite Shaman, which currently has the Jit attached to it? I would think you just blow up the 2/2 that makes 1/1 because it's a lot of clock.
Yeah, those you need to get.
But if you're going to do that,
this type of like Goblin Rabble Master effects out of the field.
But if you're going to do that, it seems to me you just do it on your own EOT when they're tapped out, and I haven't seen a card draw. But I don't know, like
But
just in case they have like Undying
see,
Evil or some nonsense, or Unearth. Unearth or Undying Evil kind of gets you. So I think you also do it begin combat. Well, I guess you can't do it begin combat phase. You have to do it main phase because the trigger happens to begin combat.
Yeah.
It's kind of an awkward timing there. I think I would have done an EOT. Not that big of a deal. I think you're still behind enough that it's going to be pretty tough to get out of it.
The Goblin picks up the Cheetah. Carries it to victory.
Well, I don't know. I mean, like the Chandra is going to see a lot of cards, right?
Yeah.
Possibly. Or it's going to tie up a lot of Jit activity.
Wait, this Chandra can't draw cards. What are you talking about?
There's a Skull Clamp in play.
The Chandra's going to see a lot of cards.
The Chandra's going to get played. It's going to make 1/1s, and you can sack the 1/1s to make things. Or to make cards.
I forgot how Skull Clamp works.
And or it's going to nullify Jit, right? Because Jit can kill all the 1/1s, but it goes back down to 0 counters. Or it ties up all the counters that would be gained over that step.
Yeah.
So, It's interesting, at least. I mean, I don't think it does. I mean, it's interesting. I don't. I think it just basically buys time.
The flip side is that you can let your opponent draw cards once, and then one Cheetah swing kills the Chandra, right? So.
Well, the reason I kind of like this line of play, though, is that it does give them. It basically puts their opponent in a spot where, like, their board advantage, which is really, dependent entirely on Jit, is nullified, and or it's distracted to attack the Chandra, and it gives you more draw steps to find Fiery Confluence, which is the card that allows you to stop what's going on and get back into this game. Or a Braid. A Braid would be good at this point as well. So there's that. But, I mean, I think Fiery Confluence is like the tops. Like, if you draw that, you can probably just win the game, to be honest, because you already have a card engine on board, and you have a means of fueling it. That kind of stops the that harsh mentor there kind of stops the skull clamp, though. It doesn't stop it, but it definitely makes it more
definitely makes it a lot harder.
Process.
Yeah. We have some results from the back tables. I have loading shouting in chat. He's running approach, which.
Oh, I assume that they were playing against Necropotence 1-3-6-1.
I mean, he said he, though, so I guess, I don't know, maybe it's just a wrong
People misspeak all the time. Yeah. Necropotence does go by feminine pronouns, so.
Gozmit wins over Balex Belson 2-1. Yeah. Man, Gozmit still has it. Gozmit doesn't make it to as many tournaments these days, but when he shows up, he kills people.
Yeah, being fair, Red Deck Wins is a top deck, right? It's one of the best decks in the format. Like, it's top 4, in my opinion. Like, Death and Taxes, Red Deck Wins. Oracle combo / TV combo, it's the same combo. It's just Oracle's probably better. And then Storm. Like, you play those decks, like, you'll probably win a lot of games. And it's not that they're, like, invincible decks. All right. So, Wolfgang goes to game 2. It appears to game 3. Blahguy taking the first one here. Or the second one.
Loading is, in fact, playing against Decker.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
You're right. We got some hands. That's what's going to happen.
Get some magic going. I think the red deck really needs to lock up its advantages early. It really wants to nullify the early games.
Yeah, I mean, it's a slightly faster, slightly less powerful deck, right?
So. Well, it has more board impact. It has more board removal. Is the big thing that I think it gains. So if it can gain early advantage, then control the board early and stop its opponent from getting stuff down like that 4/4 demon that's just massive for 3 mana, like you're in a better spot.
Where did the demon go? Well, I think it just
they
was a mulligan.
May have gotten rid of it, in a mulligan. Spike Jester is a card I utterly hate. I am not a fan of that demon. This Braid is going to be savage because again they have
Spike
the
Jester
Jit.
is not a demon. What are you talking about?
What's that?
You said you're not a fan of the demon. Spike Jester is not a demon.
No. I'm 100% a fan of the demon. I'm not a fan of Spike Jester. I think it's a bad card.
Yeah, I'm with you. I
don't think it's good. Like, I think people love it. Like, some people love it, and it's a weird card, right? Because like some people just utterly love that card. Oh, let them equip it first. Let them equip it. Waste their mana. Oh, waste their mana. Just get them. Like, I would. Just let them do it.
I mean, yes, but also I can kind of respect is like, no, I've had enough of these shenanigans. Get the thing off of the board.
No. You eat up their mana and then you get a free turn.
I mean, I'm with you. I
mean, they would have hit the Thoughtseize and maybe they would have tried to hand attack you and get rid of your Braid, but then like you've already tied up their actions. Here they're probably just going to Fatal Push plus Thoughtseize would be my guess. I mean, I guess they can develop the Spike Jester too and just try to push damage. Or they can pump. If they're going to pump, they pump main 1 and then Thoughtseize, though. Light up the stage makes sense, too, though. So on turn 3, they need to hit their land drop. The awkward thing is that if you don't hit a land off that, it's really awkward. So they're going to make black mana with their veg. All right, they find a Wasteland, which at least gets their opponent off a little bit of mana here. It's not bad. Now, if their opponent bricks on finding a mountain here, which is a possibility. I don't know what list they're running. It looks very close to like what's their name? Greg something. Greg Van Horn's list. Because they have Chandra in there, plus the clamp, and Chandra and the clamp were in their year-end deck. So it looks pretty close to that build. It's a slightly more it has some more synergy lines in it. What do they take here? I think I would probably take Light Up or Arc Trail.
Yeah, Arc Trail has probably the potential to be the most
Light
devastating card.
Up the Stage is the most greedy take. Like, you could just be greedy and take the Light Up the Stage and hope they just miss on mana. But if they hit any land, then like their hand, starts kind of just demolishing you.
Yeah. On the other hand,
Light Up is castable next turn if they attack.
Yeah, Chandra and the Suited Firecraft are too far away to worry about them.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about those. I think the 2-drops or the 1-drop, they take the greedy line, so they're like, don't hit a land, they hit a land. So they're just gonna play out the 2/2 here. Like I think it is greedy. I think it's greedy to take that card. I think it's a choice, but I think it's greedy. And if it works out really well. But I think the right take there is Arc Trail, because now like you're stuck in the spot where it's like, all right, well I can cast a Spike Jester and attack for 4, and then just get Arc Trailed into the dirt, or I can like bump plus Fatal Push. Like I guess you have shocks. You can bump, you can Fatal Push plus shock, and just kill both their threats. Which I guess isn't horrible, but like you still just have a 1/1 in play, and it's like, what are you doing? Like. And if they hit their land,
Wolfgang deploys a Robber of the Reach, winner of the that has Reach award for Kaladesh for Eldraine, right?
It's an archer. It should have Reach. It just shoots in the air, right? Just aims its bow upward.
No, I mean, I get it.
I'm kidding. Everyone always brings that card up having Reach. All right, they hit their other land, so it's like surprise. And if you're familiar with Greg Van Horn's list, it's a 32 land deck or 33 land deck. It's a more landed deck than you'd expect. So like trying to attack its mana base is actually kind of tough.
It's not as bad as I think it was Turn Ogre in War of the Spark, where like you would see that card played in draft all the time, and I think I've had a Grand Life total of like at least 10 separate flyers attacked into that card. Like, oh, just blocked with my 4. They're like, wait, what?
So, Blahguy knows their hand completely now. I'm going to be interested to see like what they do next turn with the 3 mana. I mean, I think it's going to depend on what they draw. If you draw a good threat, that's like that you can get on the board, you probably just do that. But
yeah, or if you draw a red source, you deploy this Ball Lightning.
That card is just going to kill them. So they're going to cast out the Chandra, attack for 2, get them to 6, and then hope to hit a land drop, and then just kill them in one solid blow with Fiery Confluence.
The old 6, the old 4 mana 6 damage of Fiery Confluence. Yeah.
The thing is, they're not that far from dead either. They're going to get hit for 3 more down to 8 here.
And
then there is a Ball Lightning hand.
The Ball Lightning also represents 6 damage.
Yeah, and they know for a fact right now they're just dead to the other spell next turn, so they may have to actually kill Chandra. Its target opponent loses life though, but they can make Ball Lightning. They can actually kill the Chandra here.
They can't. Oh no, they can't cast Ball Lightning because this is a Graven Cairns.
It's a filter. It's a filter land.
Yeah.
So they can kill Chandra if they want, and I honestly think they may have to. They know their opponents. They know that card in their opponent's hand because they hand attack and. What is that card called? The Spell Mastery 4 damage burn spell. Exquisite Firecraft. Yeah, that card. They know that's in hand, so they know their opponent has to take 1 damage at a minimum to cast it based on what they have.
I must say, massive slops to Blahguy for their choice of Ball Lightning. Like, for shame. Come on.
Oh, I don't mind that art. I mean, the original art's the one I'm most familiar with, but it's fine. I know that one too. That one was in like the MTG. So the thing is, like, they're 1 damage short from turning off their Exquisite Firecraft because they can do 9, and then their opponent will take 1 down to 1 life. So I think they have to kill the Chandra, or else they're just dead. Like, they have to kill Chandra, and the 3/1 doesn't kill Chandra, so the 3/1 should go to face, put them down to 8,
and the Ball Lightning should trade with the Chandra.
Yeah, and then slam. And now, what we know is that if Wolfgang hits a land, the game's just over.
Yeah,
they have Fiery Confluence. But it kind of stinks to be playing Ball Lightning and then just have to attack a.
I mean, I agree, but what other choice do they have there? That otherwise,
they don't. Like it's a forced line if they want to not die.
Yeah.
To known information.
I'm gonna be right back.
Sure thing.
Yeah.
So they're mulling it over. It's not a decision that you want to have to make, but it is a decision that they do have to make. Unfortunately, in a way that like you just All right. Well, they went to the attack step, so I think they're just dead now. Think they're just dead. So they take them down to 8. Maybe they're hoping their opponent just doesn't go for it. But I do think the right line here is to cast the Ball Lightning. Ball Lightning hits Chandra, hit face for 3, put them down to 8, and then hope to draw. Well, they drew the land. So if they go for it, they just win. This would put them down to 3, though. So, I mean, they have to be a little bit afraid of Bolt. I guess they don't
Cloud
have
draw
to.
the land? Yep, they drew the land.
Yeah, they drew the land. So I think what you do here is just make the 2/2s attack. They're going to Tragic Slip one of them, which is fine. But that also forces your hand to play out the Fiery Confluence. It's also got to happen in combat, so their mana will be fully tapped out. So basically, there's no cards in Magic. They don't have double mountains for Fire Blast. So going to 4 is not a big deal here. So they're going to kill one of these things, go to 5. This is what they were thinking through. I guess I can understand this line. I think it's a little bit greedy, but, I think it's understandable. So here comes the Fiery Confluence, and that is going to be, I believe, game over. I think that's the match.
Yeah, that's just gonna be it, right? It's.
Oh, wait, what just happened?
Oh, is the black thing on screen?
I think they just did 3 to all creatures.
Oh no.
I mean, that sucks. That's kind of a shitty way to win if they were trying to do something different. That's a Moto misclick. I would probably concede there if I knew what they were trying to do. They're going to end up getting a game win here off of this Ball Lightning, but that kind of seems like hogwash to me. But it is what it is. I guess it's a misclick, and
Yeah,
I guess
there isn't much you can do about Moto being.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I'd be like, all right, did you mean to do that, or do you mean to win the game? Like, I feel like, all right.
Yeah,
All right,
well,
Blahguy wins the
I
match off of
agree,
that.
but also I'm not gonna force Blahguy to do so.
No, I wouldn't force him to do it, but that's just. I don't know. That's not how that is a simulation of the actual game itself. Like, that wouldn't happen in the actual game
No,
itself.
I agree with you, but also being able to play with Modo is. Alright, so we have Evios versus Bailite, Croc versus Luca, Brahms versus Cheetah as our back table matchup. What do you want to do?
All right.
But Evios has set the game to no watchers, so we can't do that.
All right. Well, that's to remind our players, please set your games to be.
I'll write in chat. Well, which one?
Yeah.
Which one of these other 2 games do you want to watch?
Any one of them's fine. Let's check out some games that we haven't actually, or some
We've
players.
seen
we
both
haven't
Croc
seen
and Brahms, but
Is Necro still playing?
no, Necro's done. Necro won 2-0.
Okay.
We had actually, I was actually trying to show some banter that happened in chat. There's been a very funny interaction between Lodin and Necro.
Oh, okay.
Let's watch some ninjas. I'm always down to watch some ninjas.
Sure, I'll check out Luca's deck. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a lot of success with this deck early. I think they struggled a bit last time around. But you're back in the lobby.
Yeah, no.
All right.
I'm trying to figure out why there is a diagraph goal in my hand, in Blahguy's hand.
Blahguy's hand, I think.
But that's because they're stuck on.
Sure.
They might be figure out exactly what. They might be talking to each other to figure out exactly what to do.
Yeah. Well, the player's choice. I guess like it's your choice is TO and the player's choice. You kind of hate to see that though. It's like, all right, well, we obviously misclicked here. Like it's Obviously, in true competitive Magic, like you have to up on Moto, but it's a fun man. It's like no one wants to see the game end that way. Now, are we gonna see a ninja? Is it like a Yuriko? Nope, just three ball you.
Yeah, fair enough.
Scavenge Goose, probably next to Deathrite Shaman, one of the most ubiquitous green cards in the format, in my opinion.
Yeah. Also, they can shrink this Goyf if necessary.
Yep, they sure can. And get rid of the card that helps filter here. They're going to Fairy Vandal. Okay. The Vandal is coming.
Sure can turn out to be a ninja.
Well, I think that's Croc's Fairy Vandal.
Oh. Then...
Yeah, that's Croc's Fairy Vandal.
I don't think that card is going to turn out to be a ninja.
I mean, it might. If Gore Clan Rampager is kind of a ninja. It's huge.
It has ninja-like properties.
Yeah, it just makes things huge, and they just smash face really hard.
You don't draw cards, but it turns out that the thing... Surprise! No. It was just gigantic.
I don't know if they're playing that card. I'm just joking around about cards. I don't think they're playing that, but they might be. It's definitely not out of the realm of possible. All right, so they're getting hit with a 1-2. The Goyf is now small. Small Goyf. Bailite, they only have one card in hand, so it's definitely probably not an instant that allows them to make the Goyf bigger. Actually, it's just sorcery they would need because all the there's source or instants already in the bin.
Yeah.
I assume this is probably a 1-1 matchup right now if it's gone this long, but don't know.
Yeah, that sounds likely, but
Yeah, hard telling. I mean, they could just have a long first game.
yeah,
too.
I'll what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change the match information, then I'm gonna ask them in chat.
Yeah. Alrighty, so we're getting in there with the ooze. Croc could also just been waiting to see if they could get this attack off and then maybe do something with the card they have in hand. I mean, it's not going to be a sorcery, but no, they're just taking the 3. No ninjas yet. 4 cards in hand for Blahguy. One of them's apparently a land. They have a redraw.
It turns out this bug
Aggro.
ninjas deck actually doesn't even play that many ninjas. It's just mostly it's mostly
No, it
just
plays
a
the
bug
best ones.
tempo deck, yeah, which features.
Yeah, it just plays the
ninja.
best ones. I mean, like, there's actually not a lot of that playable of ninjas, right? I mean, there's a few, but like, you have like Yuriko, you have the black-blue one.
Fallen Shinobi, yeah.
Well, Fallen Shinobi's, yeah, just huge. That was the other one I was thinking of is the 2 blue and black one that come ninjutsu's for blue and black is a 2/3.
Ingenious
all ninjas draw.
Infiltrator.
That one, yeah. And then you could also play the popper one, Ninja Deep Hours, but like,
Ninja of the Deep.
yeah, I
Hours,
don't think that card is that good. I've never been a fan of it in this deck, this style of deck. I think there's about 3 that you really like. There are more. Like, I think they're playing like Higir of the Steel Wind too, like just to get more ninjas out of their deck. Which is like a big, powerful card. It's really expensive though.
Yeah, it is costly. Oh, I've seen Sakashima Student being played in.
That's played more in like the combo decks though.
I've seen it play like in Merfolk, for example, because they just want additional lords.
I think the place to probably play the most powerful, the most important aspect of that card is, I think, in general, the fact that it's a 4-drop. So it allows you to, in the pod decks, the Time Walk pod decks, go from like a 3, having an Eternal Witness on board, to clone Eternal Witness to get Time Walk back. And then some of those decks like go as high as like running like Progenitor Mimic, where you just like clone Eternal Witnesses every turn and keep on taking Time Walks, which is cool. That's probably not the most competitive variant of it, but I think the decks that tend to run Sakashima Student tend to be more so like Time Walk based decks.
Yeah.
Pod in them.
I think Merfolk is kind of an edge case, because it's this case in which you really just like clones
more lords,
just because you have enough density of lords that your clones can relatively consistently copy lords, although it's still kind of risky.
Oh, 100%. Like that's kind of one of the issues with that deck too, right?
Yeah.
All of your cards kind of depend on each other, so if like any one of them is getting killed, it's like kind of problematic because it makes all of your other cards a lot worse. Like, at the end of the day, like
I mean, the truth of the matter is that like in Constructed, you get to play a deck that has like 8 natural 2-mana lords out of 60 cards, and in Highlander you get to play a deck that has 3 out of 100.
If you want to include
and Merfolk's the one that has the most lords.
What's the one? I can't think of it now. It's a 2 blue, 2/2. It has a level up mechanic.
Coralhelm Commander.
Where it can become a 4/4 flyer. That
you play Coralhelm Commander. You play the one from the other one, the one from Lordwyn, Marrow Ridgery. Like there's a lot of 3-mana lords that are good. You probably even play Merfolk Sovereign, honestly. But
yeah, it's fine. Makes the thing unblockable. You can. It's a deck. It's certainly not on like Goblins level or Elves level, or in my opinion, Zombies I think is a pretty good deck too.
Yeah, I think if a couple more 2-mana lords show up, that could be a thing.
Yeah, the problem that in my opinion, like the Merfolk deck has is not really like the Lord volume and like good 1-drop volume is an issue.
The
problem is really like you don't have a wide range of utility. You're just banking on counter spells and stuff like that.
Ooh, Tidal.
Yep. So the board is swept. Croc is on 1 card. I guess they're both at a low life total.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. I don't know. The board sweep is, I guess maybe I don't know. Maybe their follow-up is really good. Croc's on 1 card they haven't played in a while, so I kind of have a suspicion that's likely a counter spell. It could just be a land.
Yeah, that seems likely, yeah.
Could just be a land. But my assumption is if you talk to Deluge there, you have like a really good follow-up. Like, maybe you're just going to hardcast a Fallen Shinobi or something.
Sounds like a good follow-up to me, but we haven't seen
Not bad.
we haven't seen Luca do anything quite yet.
No. Or they just have a bunch of counter spells. They're going to bank on their draw steps being better and their counter magic buying them the time they need to get their draw steps.
Although Luca is a tempo deck. Like, you would imagine that if the game goes long, the mid-range deck would have...
They can serve that way. I'd say they're pretty mid-rangey, though. Like, I don't think they're 100% a tempo deck. Like,
Sure.
I don't think there's tempo-y as, like, Rug. I think Rug, like, tempo is a much more tempo-oriented deck. Not that Krok's on, like, Rug tempo. They're on more of, like, a mid-range shell.
The Bleeds type deck, right?
Yeah, or, like, blue-green, blue-red, like...
Yeah, blue-red can be even...
blue-red's probably my favorite tempo deck.
Got it 2-0. Oh,
this bird is actually relevant for a few reasons. Bird, normally at this stage in the game, wouldn't be that relevant. The reason Bird's kind of relevant in this deck is it has flying, and it can attack. It's not a defender. So it can turn
out to be a ninja? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's basically it. Yep. Although I do think if they had...
I was this bird was me the whole time.
I do think that if they had a ninja at this point, they would have just cast it, though. Like, I think I would have been like, all right, it's fine. Let's just cast this dummy out. I mean, all the ninjas are castable off this mana.
Yeah.
Unless they're playing very, like, cautiously, like, very reactively, which... There's an Abrade. I think I would be fine with that if I were on Luca's side. If I had a counter spell, I would not waste it on them killing my bird. Like I said, at this point, you could just hardcast your ninjas.
Oh, Cheetah and Brahms are still going. That's why I couldn't find the deck because the matches out. That was great.
There is an Inquisition of Kozilek. It's probably going to just see a land card at this point. Maybe it's Counterspell. Counterspell or land's my guess. All right, they're just going to counter it.
So
all right,
they probably have some stuff they want to protect, that's right? Cool. Then that's what that counterspells mean.
I mean, now they can continue to counterspell every turn if they'd like. At this point, if you have a threat, you just play it. Like, you just jam it in. Like, they're going to be able to use that Mystic Sanctuary to get back to Prive every turn if that's what they want to do. Every other turn. Which, my guess would be, it's tough, right? Because, I mean, like, that's not really going to win you the game. Like, you're missing a draw step every other turn. To have a counterspell every other turn.
That's true, but it's still a pretty powerful... Like, Deprive at this point, like, Counterspell is a fairly above average draw for your deck. So if you do that like every other turn, that increases your draw quality by a lot.
You got to win the game, though. You got to win the game. Like, it doesn't win the game. Like, right now we're on an empty board. Like, whoever lands the first thing is probably going to win here.
Yeah, but landing the first thing is going to be harder if you have, a large supply. Oh, that's the Ingenious Infiltrator.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. There's a threat. Like, and if Krok drew a counterspell, that's going to be rugged. It looks like they did. They draw a literal counterspell. No, they're going to cycle into the counterspell. And they're going to deprive this thing. So they drew a cycling card. Pretty solid. I didn't see is it miscalc or what did they draw? All right, land drop and down to one card.
They drew. The card was Deprive, actually.
Well, I know they drew Deprive, but it was miscalc. Miscalc's the card they cycled into Deprive.
Right. Oh,
we knew Deprive was on top of their deck. I was wondering what the cycling card was. Miscalc seemed like the most obvious one, and that's what it was.
Yep.
But it could have been a few cards. Could have just been a Ponder. Could have been Ponder would have been obvious what they had in their hand. That Brainstorm would have worked. All right. Well, Krok is now going to be able to counter a lot of spells.
Yeah.
So the name of the game is Find Wasteland, or Double Spell. Double spelling, I don't think they're going to be able to deal with. But then again, I mean, they could draw multiple on the turns off when
they're going to have time to draw some more gas, right?
Yeah.
Like every time that you don't force their hand to use their Deprive is a hand that they get a draw step to find more ways to answer a potential double spelling. They have the mana to double.
Sure, but I don't think you just talk. All right, well, there's one of their own, so they get back the Inquisition of Kozilek, I suppose.
They're getting back.
Draw and lock to counter the counter spell at some point.
This matchup.
Yeah, Mystic Sanctuary, very powerful card. I think. I think that's pretty obvious, but it's it is pretty much a card you should almost always play in your blue decks.
I've been trying to feed like. I managed to
tell me you're
cram
trying
one
to fit
in
it into
Blue
blue
Moon,
red, you
but
should
it's
just put it in
been
blue red.
hard because I think I'm already not playing enough basics.
You're on Blue Moon. You have to play basics.
I
The
know
card's great,
that's the
in my
problem.
experience. Card
I
is
think
utterly
right
great.
now I have I believe 19 basics in the deck, and that's about in the low end of what I would like to have.
That's fine. I think that's a fine number. That's plenty, actually. I think I may play 17, which is still a lot, in my opinion.
Well, it's also
I
like
haven't
the
had
version
issues
that
with-
I'm playing is kind of obliged to play a lot because like I'm also like very more heavily blue than I'm than other version. I'm playing cards like Archmage's Charm and all that
Sure.
sort of thing. So I
think blue decks should just run it. Like, I think it is a good enough. I mean, you have to build a little differently for it, but it is very powerful.
that is why like if you look at my deck, I am playing something like 3 mountains and 16 islands.
That's about where I'm at. I think on mine, like it's a very small ratio of literal. It's like
I had my friends make fun of me because I was playing more than 1 mountain, and I was like, I haven't back to basics in this deck.
Yeah, I think you need more than 1. I think 1's incorrect. I think 2 to 3
No, I
is
agree
probably
because
fine.
back to basics ruins you otherwise. But
No. Plus, you also need red for early board control. If you just get swamped by a red deck win style deck, like you're not going to come back with your blue cards. Will not help you win that matchup. Your red cards are the ones that win that matchup, or help you get into a spot to win that matchup.
yeah.
And it's obviously one you have to be concerned about because it's one of the best decks. So folks will play it. There's a Wasteland. Cool. Blows up the Sanctuary. This one may also come to time, too. It really depends. I mean, like, you would have expected it to, based on where the game was at, but...
Yeah. And
with the
way that we have arbitrated this, we have decided that it's up to the players. Like, the players are free to start a new game whenever they want, but if they don't, and one of them times out, the result will stand.
Sure.
So,
all right, get him down to 3 here. I mean, this 1-1 could go all the way. We'll see. I don't think it's likely to, but it could. Well, it's not going to go all the way.
Exactly. Now I need to. Now I'm curious. Do I actually play exactly 19? Am I down to 18?
I don't know. I can tell you right now what I play, but I have to pull it up on tap down.
Yeah, I'm pulling mine out now. Actually,
I don't know. I don't know on Blue Red Moon what I'm at anymore.
Yeah, 19. 15 islands, 4 mountains.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see where I'm at. If it'll load.
But then you also play like seven patches, right? So those are those help with making sure that
7 or 8. You got Prismatic Vista too, right?
Doesn't that make 7?
Am I
No,
dumb
that
here?
makes 8. Right. No. I play all of the fetches. It's just
I was like,
matter
it
of-
should be 7 with natural base or natural fetches.
Yeah. No. Sorry, I counted 6 with the natural. Yeah, but yeah, no, it's 8. It's 8. Yeah.
I mean, you could go Fabled Passage if you want to go pretty deep, but I don't think I'd run that.
I don't think it's necessary.
No, neither do I. All right, Blue Moon. What am I at? I'm pulling the deck up now. Land. I'm on 16 snow-covered mountains. I'm on four mountains and 16 islands.
Okay, so
What
you
am
have
I
20 total. Okay.
Yeah.
You play one less island than I do.
Yep. More mountain.
Yeah. No, we have the same number of mountains. So I have 4 also.
Oh, do we? Okay.
Yeah. I'm assuming
It's probably to make room for this
that basic is taken by that slot is taken by Frostwalk Bastion, which I don't know if should be.
Oh, I don't know. I don't play any attacking land. I play the Wandering. But
yeah,
other than
Wandering
that,
Fumarole. Yeah.
yeah.
The dwarves.
Well, Luca managed to get there with this Vendilion Click, which is a card that can
Luca
get
managed
there.
to get there. Okay.
Yep. So
While we were
Luca
jibber
is
jabbering
one
about Blue Moon.
Yeah. Well, they got there with a flash threat. So Croc did not at that point have the deprive in hand. Flash threat was able to kind of get through post, or actually in response to removal on the Strix. Yeah. So that is that. So Spider Cheetah versus Brams. Where's this game headed? If this thing flips, they're probably just going to win the game. This thing is going to flip because they should drain them here and then attack them for lethal. Yep. All right. Well, that's that game. I wouldn't bother. Is this over?
Yep,
over,
that's the
homie.
match. Okay,
Yeah,
we got it.
Yeah, we jumped in for the killing blow.
For the literal actual end. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and with that, we are back to the booth. Exciting round 2. We got to watch some pretty interesting gameplay action. I'm sad that we didn't have hand cams for the Luca matchup because that looked pretty interesting, and it was fought mostly on the stack at the end. But they managed to get there with a flash threat. On the other,
did we get player-based decision on Blahguy versus WolfgangCloud?
they would have to play a game 3 if they don't, right? Because that was only game 2. But I think they're letting the results stand. Okay. So we have Luca 2-1, Cheetah 2-1. Let me punch that in.
And then who do we have undefeated right now?
I'm gonna give you the
Are you still number crunching?
A second.
May.
So
is that
right
Gozmit?
Now we have Luca, Gozmit, Blahguy, and Bailite are the 4 undefeated.
Okay. Well, depending on how pairings end up working out, one of we call it a grudge matchup if you want to, like Bailite versus Gozmit. I'm not saying pair them, like however the machine pairs them, but that's always an interesting.
But they are paired, so.
Oh, okay.
Watch that one. I have not yet lost to Abzan midrange with mono red. Okay, I'm just saying.
So the funny thing is, like, their deck is much more. I consider Abzan control. It's Abzan control. Like, I think if their deck was Abzan like mid range, like it'd be a more challenging matchup. But just my take on the matchup. If there's more Luxodon Smiters and less like Emeralds.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like just big dumbasses that like attack. And
just more gigantic bricks. It's like,
just cheap.
Here's
like Doran the Siege Towers. Like what does Red Deck Win do against Doran the Siege Tower? Just sit there and look at the thing and be like, well, lightning bolt. Yeah, just throw lightning bolts forever. Whatever.
My 2-1 seems to be a 1-1 now. That is very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm down to watch some Gozmit versus Bailite. That sounds lovely.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah, I think it's an interesting matchup. I think that's one of the matchups. Like the way that Bailite has the deck built, they're very much so a value-oriented player. They play the game to get as much value as they can out of their cards. But the issue you can run into with that is it tends to be a less efficient way of playing the game, which increases your liability versus decks that are going to try to go underneath you. So like your Red Deck Wins, maybe even Sui Black, that may be an extreme example. Crusade Stompy, Death and Taxes, although Death and Taxes should be a pretty decent matchup for that build of Abzan because it has sweepers. It's, most of the Death and Taxes threats are going to be board-based. So yeah. But I think Red Deck Wins can be a challenging one for it. They do have some life gain, though. I don't know if they're on like the Thragtusk style threats or whatnot, but it should be an interesting one at a minimum.
Yeah. This is also like, we have Season 3 champion Gozmit versus the current season leader for Season 5, Bailite, so it has like, significance also in like our 10th point.
Sure. It's a grudge match, homie. It's a grudge match. Goddamn grudge match.
Yeah, Bailite was in the finals for Season 3, but Gozmit...
that is not an accurate statement. They were not.
I mean they were in the season end. That's what I meant.
Gotcha. Yeah. So say I think I relegated Bailite. I think Bailite lost to Rami. I lost to Bailite.
Yeah. Which was they were in the tournament.
My deck, that was probably the hardest matchup for my deck. I was like, I probably can't win this one. This is a crappy Sui deck, and Rami.
And then you just.
And then I got them in the second game. The second match. Yeah, I got them in the second match. However, I don't remember how it happened, but I did, and then then I played Gozmit, and managed to get them, and then I jumped out. So anyway, it should be an interesting one. I don't think they actually played in that season.
No, I don't think
because the way it was set up, like I think Gozmit and Rami only had to technically play like 2 games. And if they lost,
because of the
gauntlet,
structure.
They lost, they had to play like 3-4. But yeah.
How are you looking? Are you thinking for this season? Do you think that we want to like replicate the same structure? Do you think it would be better to?
Hey, I'm
change
not
the
like
whole
sold
thing?
either way on it. I mean, me personally, like, I get the standpoint that like you want to reward player attendance, for folks showing up because you're trying to grow the event. So I understand that, but I can say this from like the perspective of the guy, like, and again, like you asked me to show up, and like I didn't really want to, but I did. From the standpoint of the person on like the bottom of a gauntlet style rung, where like you have to essentially beat every single player to like win the event, like it's not reasonable to actually win the event because like
Yeah, no, I definitely
Magic to, like,
want to. I definitely want to. I was going to try to relax things a little bit this time, but I also want to like being on top of the thing to matter. And probably I should have had this discussion like earlier than
sure.
the
I mean,
week
I would have it
before,
more with
but-
your steady players. Like my opinion is, if I'm trying to win games of Magic, like I'm not that excited by that because I mean, like for instance, like when I was playing in that gauntlet, I had to win, God, like 10 games of Magic in a row. I had to win 10 games of Magic. I could lose.
You could lose some along the way. Yeah.
I could lose one match, and I had to win like not. I didn't have to win 10 games. I had to win 8 matches, and I could lose one. So I could lose one match, and I had to win 8 matches, which numerically is very challenging, right? It's not, it's not even very challenging. It's damn near impossible, right? Like especially against a wide array of different decks.
No,
Given
for
like
sure. I mean, some of it is somewhat a little bit is kind of by design, right? But
sure.
Like
But
I
mean,
want
then again,
I want for there to be an advantage given to the
I want
first
the
player,
idea
but
that
I do
can,
realize
right?
that there is a lot of advantage.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. Like it's almost impossible, right? Like I mean, being fair, I mean, then again, like I did manage to run the gauntlet, and I technically would have been in finals if I hadn't just been like, all right, I'm good, I'm out, But yeah, I don't. It's I obviously got lucky. I think I played well, but I also got to a pretty significant extent because I don't think my deck was that great. Although I do think it was built to beat most of the decks with the exclusion of Abzan, control in that metagame. I was kind of just banking on their deck being clunkier and using efficiency to get them and then some of the card advantage I had. But anyway, what we got here is a pretty savage mulligan for Gozmit. They are on a no-lander. In a minimum, they are going to get to see some cards here, and they're going to probably burn off this mana dork just to limit their opponent's play options in the following turns. Probably do it post-combat. The Bowback Courier at a minimum will get them back into cards. And being on a mulligan hand means that you're not going to be ditching a lot of resources, more than likely. Now, what they probably want to do here is develop the Rakdos Cackler. I think they're going to make the conservative play, which I like, in playing the Pillar of Flame just to blow up the birds. There's obviously old adage, always bolt the birds. I think it definitely holds true here, especially when you're behind resources like this. You don't want your opponent developing 3 drops on turn 2. There's one of the styles of cards that like you see in like Bailite's deck that you don't tend to see in Abzan Midrange, Winding Way. It's a pretty powerful effect, and it can help you get into. It's a 2-for-1, right? If it hits creatures and or lands, whatever you name with it. But it does nothing to impact the board, which is really what Red Deck Wins cares about. Like if you had a spell that said draw your whole deck, but you don't get to cast any more spells this turn, Red Deck Win probably wouldn't care about that card. Like they'd be like, whatever.
It does put the remainder of the heads in the graveyard, which is relevant for the Emrakul in Bailite's deck.
Again, investment. It's investment, right? It doesn't do anything to impact the board.
No, I agree. I agree that it's not like I agree that it's not the best card in this specific matchup, but I think that's one of the reasoning that the card is there. You get to dump some stuff in the graveyard.
No, I'm not saying the card's bad. I'm just saying like
Emrakul
that's
would be
one of
more
the
powerful.
significant differences that you see in this build of the deck and other like more mid-range builds. And I think one of the reasons that like the deck does assume some liability against decks like Red Deck Wins, where you're just like, yeah, I'm just gonna smash you in the face till you die. Now, given this draw is pretty anemic from Gozmit, but they mulligan to 5 and had to pitch a card to their Chrome box. So
yeah.
But now we're getting a little more power on the board. We've got this Infuriate, so if there is a block off the Nissa on the following turn, it's very possible that the Nissa will just get eaten by whatever she gets in front of. But Gozmit is hoping to hit a land here next turn. They want to hit a land and then have access to Infuriate plus Sack post-combat on the Bowmat Courier, possibly the next turn, but they want to have the access to the mana, so if a kill spell happens on the Bowmat Courier, their cards are not trapped in exile to replenish their hand.
That's a land.
Y'all? That's, I think, exactly what they want to see. I think what I like here is attack with both, infuriate on whatever gets blocked by the Nissa, and then play land and pass. Leave up access to it, because I'm a little greedy here. Like, when you're behind on cards like this, especially in red deck wins, like I like the access to having another attack to get another card off of this card. Yeah, so I like this. I like just pumping, killing, playing my land, saying go.
Yeah, pitch this Viashino Pyromancer, get a bunch of cards.
I'll pitch it if they have removal. If they don't have removal, I'm gonna
if
attack.
they don't have removal, you
get
get another card off of it.
Yeah. Or if they don't play a blocker, because like their hand's been really slow. So like I'm asking myself, I'm on Gozmit's side, like what the hell does their hand have? Because they haven't really done all that much. Apparently it has Avenge Divine, but my guess is it probably has at least 1 to 2 lands and probably like another investment style card that doesn't really do anything. This is pretty good for them. So they get to play this now, do 2 damage, and then they have the land to activate the Bomat Career post attacks. They could just block the Rakdos Cackler, but then if they do that, then I'm just not going to sack the Bomat Career. I'm going to go for like a full 7-card hand off this.
Yeah. I mean, this Courier is about to like draw.
I kind of like attacking with both, honestly.
Like it's already drawing like a pretty like it's already opportunity, but it could go. It could be more.
Well, with Epic 10 life, like if they attack with both here, I think the Bomat probably still gets blocked, but that's a 6-card hand. And if it doesn't get blocked, then yes, you lose a Rakdos Cackler, which isn't blocking anyway, so not attacking with it kind of doesn't really do anything. It's just a blank card at that point.
Yeah.
And it gives you access to getting another attack in with the Bomat Courier to get a full 7-card hand with another draw step. So I don't mind attacking with both. But
the Cackler stayed back.
That's fine. I don't think it's bad to do that. But I think there's some advantage. So they can't cast anything else. They had to land this turn. I don't think it's per se bad, but I think the reason you not do that is like if you're hoping to hit like lateral damage, your reckless, abandon, those style of cards. All right, so they're gonna clamp this thing up, and now they have a decent blocker, although it could just be firebolted out of the way, and they 4, which is not irrelevant. My guess would be we'll see a Steamkin go first, we'll see a Firebolt, and then we'll see a Spectacle Costed light up the stage to get into more cards. Post combat here.
Incorrect Firebolt, like come on.
That's not incorrect. I'm not that big on art. I'm not that snobby. I do have preferences on it. I do like the older Firebolt art, but it's it's a stupid red card.
I'm not usually so like there's some cards where I think it's appropriate to only run the old version. Old Prime Firebolt looks so gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a cool looking card. It's a good looking card. Their opponent's really dead here.
Yes.
There's no other way of putting it. Really goddamn.
That's why I was talking about the aesthetics of Firebolt, because there's been
really goddamn dead.
There's a lot of damage going
Bailite in exile, and they've got a zillion on board. I think you're dead. They're fetching lands with this 3 visits, and then looking at their hand and saying, "Well, I wish I had more Siege Rhino and more Luxodon Spiders in my deck."
Mystery Forests.
They are running Siege Rhino though.
I mean, if you're not running that card, Siege Rhino, it can't.
They're running it.
You're playing Abzan Aggro, Siege Rhino. You're playing Abzan Control, Siege Rhino. It doesn't matter.
I like how guys was playing this part of it. Like I think you just throw burn at face as opposed to playing more creatures. If they have a way to deal with the whole, they just have a way to deal. So committing more creatures to it doesn't make a ton of sense. It also gives them some equity if they need to post-combat cast, one of these things out of hand. Bailite makes him kill him, and he does. -5, we're still at 20. So that's kind of one of the deficits playing with more investment-based card.
I played something like 4 different versions of Abzan in that standard, in the Siege Rhino standard. I started playing Abzan
Aggro,
and then I moved to playing Abzan Control. And then I started playing like a more mid-range, cared about counter versions. And then I went back to that's when the Hangerback Walker came out. And then I started playing 4 colors with blue. And you just played Siege Rhino in all of them.
Yeah, Siege Rhino is just the card. I mean, it's the right card in that deck. And it's why that deck really existed. It's just a good card. This looks like a better hand. I like Bailite's hand a ton better for this matchup.
It has
they literally lost some life gain. When you lose to a mulligan to 5, one, your opponent knows how to mulligan their deck. More than likely because they've won with it. They've been pretty successful with the deck historically. But when you lose to a mull to 5, and I don't know what their mulligan was. I think Bailite was at 7 on that one. You probably could have mulliganed the deck better, right? At that point, because your opponent was stuck on 1 mana. Not that red deck wins can't function on 1 mana, so they lose their Sulfuric Vortex. They're left with Goblin Guide. I don't mind that. They have access to a Fatal Push on this Goblin Guide if needed, but honestly, right now they probably just want to hit mana.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they probably don't mind if they get extra shots at mana off this Goblin Guide. The one downside to it is if it gets to hit them twice, they are going to be able to light up the stage and get into more resources off of it. That's white mana source, so that opens up the options on the Sword of Plowshares, also opens up long-term equity on the Titania, and makes the Knight of Autumn castable. But they don't have a play on turn 2. So my guess would be we're probably going to see removal in response to the attack trigger.
Yeah,
off Goblin Guide.
Their play for round 2 is probably something like push plow, right? If another threat gets deployed, which probably won't be, but
probably just push here, be my guess.
Yeah, you just they give the guy the chance to draw you another card.
They don't know they have light up the stage, so they may allow it to hit them just to see if
I wouldn't. You have it because if your opponent applies something else, you can plow.
I'm not saying it's right, but I could see it. I could see it, right? Like I can see it just in case like there's another threat that you'd rather get, and you don't want to waste both your cards on them because you have blockers on the following turn. So like you could look to block with the Knight of Autumn against the Goblin Guide.
Yeah,
it's an option at a minimum. I'm just saying it's an option. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's an option. They go ahead and Wasteland here. There's Gerard's Verdict coming up. It's going to be uncastable, actually, though. They may fetch.
Yeah, because of this forest, it cannot be cast.
So,
yeah, there's Wasteland. The
other reason is, like, if you know they have the access to the Wasteland, like, you kind of still need more mana. Like, your deck's a lot more mana hungry than their deck is. So, I don't know.
Runaway Steam King should immediately to plow.
I don't know about immediately, but yes, it should be. I don't know
if
it would be this turn.
Like, that card is legit.
I probably would do it this turn because I'm my best draw in deck is a land. And I can play out the Knight of Autumn to either gain some life or make a 4/3. I'm a more aggressive player. I'd probably just make a 4/3 here. Or you could use this this Recruiter to find Stoneforge Mystic or whatever you're playing in your deck. That's relevant. But I kind of like just getting some pressure down and ending the game because one of the good ways to kill Red Deck wins is just to kill them.
I'm kind of in for casting a Recruiter of the Guide, honestly.
Okay.
That also allows you. Like,
it's very slow. It's an investment level play.
It is slow, but your opponent has no pressure on the field. It can find you either somewhat life gain in the form of either Skoos or Finks, or it can find you, or it can't find. It can find Finks. Yeah, you can find Finks off of this thing. I'm slamming this Recruiter.
I think getting a 4/3 down is more relevant. I think you just need to kill them.
No, because you probably don't even want to play to get the 4/3 down. I kind of want to bank on that thing and make game for life off of it.
I don't. I think if you can end the game against Red Deck win, trying to like disrupt them and gain life, just win. Like put a threat down, and if they're forced to Volcanic Hammer, they probably will. Then you're in the same spot, right? And they've done nothing. They've done utterly
Volcanic Hammer didn't go to your face. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, they've done nothing. They've just traded their Volcanic Hammer for
and actually, Gozmit just packs it in.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. I mean, Finks is going to put them too far behind. They don't have relevant proactive plays to make. 2 removal spells in a pretty good mana is enough. And if the game had gone any longer than that, I mean, they're looking to get a Titania down, which is probably going to at the game.
Yeah, Titania tends to end the game pretty quickly. Oh, Highlander Siege Rhino.
One of the liabilities in Gozmit's build is that it's a land light. Now, this is a good hand right here. And probably pitch off the Abrade here. Yeah, I think that's what I would do.
Gozmit is going to be able to start...
Pitch off a land, okay.
By Inquisition in a way, I'm guessing the Fire Blast?
Can't Inquisition a Fire Blast is a 6-drop.
Right.
They can get the Abbot.
The Abbot,
or
but
the Abrade.
Probably actually you start with the...
Abrade's probably a better hit. They're going to start with the Abbot. Okay, they're going to start with the Abbot. That's an interesting start. So they can't hit a land off this. I mean, they can, but it's just going to exile it.
I mean, they couldn't hit anything then. I'm not sure I agree with this. Well, I guess that you're kind of forced to do
I mean, it develops more pressure on the follow-on turns. It is just
I think we are going to see the Inquisition, actually.
So I think you're going to see Bailite take this one, but I don't think it's going to be based on kind of the hallmarks of their deck typically. If you look at their hand is a very decent mid-range, kind of like median mid-range game plan. They've got this turn 1 ramp, Mana Dork. They've got a Gaia's Cradle plus a 2-drop, and they have Questing Beast, which Questing Beast is just a massive card.
Yeah, it's just huge.
Yeah, it's just huge. Does a lot. That said, like, I don't think it's over for Gozmit either. I
Also,
think
the other thing about questing beasts is it's actually the vigilance ability tends to be pretty relevant in a start like this, where you want to pressure your
yeah, it's
opponent,
just a
but
huge
also
threat.
leave
It's just a
blockheads
huge
behind.
undercosted threat. Just a
It's-
huge
it's-
undercosted threat. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
a beast.
undercosted, but like vigilance is specifically relevant here, right? That's what I was trying to make.
Yeah.
Because it means you
Yeah.
can attack with your questing beast well, and also then block with your questing beast, which are both
the
things
other
you want to
half
be
to
doing.
that equation, though, is right now if Gozmit just draws burn, they can kind of keep their opponent off of mana here.
Yeah.
And the burn is going to be relevant from the standpoint that it can shrink stuff like Questing Beast because they have a Soul Scar Mage in play, which basically does wither damage off of non-combat damage.
Yeah.
So it puts -1, -1 counters and stuff. So that's a thing.
I'm assuming here we're gonna see the Fauna Shaman.
Yeah, it blocks. No, Gozmit's just kind of hoping to hit like cheap burn. That's not cheap burn, but you probably still attack with your two.
He's a 1-mana
2/2.
2/2.
Yeah, but that's not right now. You want to see his burn because it buffs up your 2 prowess threats. And it also just keeps the board open, which I think is going to be better. But the 2/2's fine. There's a
Yeah,
fetch.
sadly,
so-
having traded the Fauna Shaman away, Gozmit can't deploy the Questing Beast this turn.
That's fine.
But that's fine. Yeah, he is still able to deploy the.
It also
the
blocks
Cruiser
the
of
Jackal
Guard.
Pup pretty well,
Yep.
which is not irrelevant. See a Finks here. Although, another interesting thing is, bless you, Soulscar Mage actually does kind of blank Finks in some ways, because if you burn off a Finks with a Soulscar Mage in play, it puts
It
-1/-1.
won't come back. Yeah, because it will
Yeah, it
be
won't come
counters,
back.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. There's a Pyromancer. They got an Ooze. Okay. They just attack with these 2 things.
Easy peasy.
Yup. So we don't hit a land here. We hit a card that gets rid of the Fire Blast, which is not irrelevant. And then you can resolve an Ooze and have 2 green mana up with
He can
2
just
creatures at the
he
mid.
can just play the Questing Beast, right?
Why?
There's a Cradle.
Not develop Ooze first. Ooze
I mean-
gains you life. It gets bigger. It becomes a 4/4. The Fire Blast is threatening from the standpoint. If they ever hit another mountain, the beast.
My roommate
dead.
is knocking on my
No
door.
problem.
Yeah. Keep going. I'll figure it
So
out.
anyways, yeah, no, I think right here, even though you can develop the Questing Beast, I think the right play is to duress, getting rid of the Fire Blast, which you know about because you had turn 2 or 1 hand attack, and then puff the Ooze up to a 4/4. Because if your opponent ever draws a mountain, then your Questing Beast is away. It can, and then they can have a very powerful attack with you at 11 with a pretty significant, board presence. So I like this line better, going for a duress, hitting this card out of their hands, playing out the Cradle, playing out the Ooze with your 2 forests, then having 2 green mana open. Gives you a 4/4 on board. Also gains you 2 life up to 13. So pretty good.
Sorry about that.
And there was the mountain. So yes, if it had been Questing Beast, we'd just probably see kind of a blowout attack there. Tough spot. No, I don't believe there's any more creatures left in the bin at this point. So they
Right,
do
I'm
have.
back.
Yep. Hey, everything good?
Yeah. No, everything is fine. My roommate is cleaning my freezer and is cleaning our freezer and wanted to know what exactly she should do with some of the stuff that she found.
Yeah. But here's the beast. Now Gozmit's in a spot where they need to have a draw step. They need to have a pretty solid draw step. Or else this game's going to very rapidly slide out of control.
Nothing on Gozmit's board can block this beast, right? No, they only have. They don't have
No, they're all 1 and 2 power things.
The beast has the ability that an ability that R&D refers to as daunt or daunting, which is it can only be.
That's an
blocked when it
interesting
hits with
draw.
power.
What does this do for us here? So, because the Soulscar Mage is on board, you can chip down a lot of the threats.
Yeah, you could.
The problem is the Ooze can also grow. So do you kill off the Noble Hierarch plus put the Ooze down to a 2/2, which by proxy makes it a 3/3 because it can buff up again by eating the.
You could just permanently make the beast into a 2/2, which is probably good.
The beast still just gets through your board though.
Yeah, it does, but at the very least, it doesn't block everything. Or this has to trade with everything.
Sure. So they make the beast a 3/3 and they make the Ooze a 2. They make an Ooze a 3/3 and make the beast a 2/2. All right.
like, if I'm Gozmit, I'm obviously concerned about the fact that the beast is attacking for 4, but I'm also concerned about the fact that the beast is blocking everything that I have profitably.
Sure. So is the ooze, though, right?
No, for sure.
Yeah. So,
But, like,
I can get this line.
How many creatures are you gonna chump? Like, you are at this point, you're in the point where if you want to attack, you're gonna have to chump attack some creatures, but you're kind of trying to figure out how to chump attack the fewest creatures possible.
Yeah. Be interesting to see what they draw next. I don't think Gozmit's out of it, but I think they're even like.
I mean, yeah, the advantage bar is definitely pointing at Bailite right now, but I don't think that.
And again, I think it's really because these mid-range cards. You know, not the controlling aspects. Like even
for
recruiters,
sure. You want to be throwing your mid-range cards in this matchup.
You have to, yeah. If you don't, you just get run over pretty easily. But I think honestly, right now we could see that's Avenge Divine. It's a good one to draw. Again, it's just a threat. Like just drawing threats.
Just power and toughness that go on the battlefield and attack and block.
Mm-hmm. And eventually, Gozmit's going to be in a place where they have to start, right? Because they're just going to die really quickly to some of these things.
Yeah. Like the Questing Beast can still attack Undaunted.
It's lightning bolt. Yeah, it's a lightning bolt damage every turn. Off of that, plus the Noble Eric.
Yep. And granted, you'd still rather take 3 than 5, but you're still taking 5 every turn. And the Gozmit's draws, on average, are going to be like more powerful than yours. We're going to see that Gozmit
you mean
is
Bailite's draws will be singularly more powerful.
Yes, Bailite's draws. Yeah. Like, you see that Gozmit is like, it doesn't matter that this Vengevine
unless Gozmit draws
it
like
has 4
Falter.
power and 3 toughness, and the mana advantage doesn't. The fact that Bailite is drawing 4-drop and Gozmit is going 1-drop doesn't matter when Gozmit has the mana to deploy all these threats anyway.
Yep.
You see Snowhover, Forest, and Forest in Bailite's deck. That's because this is a Tainted Pact deck.
I would assume so.
I'm pretty sure it is.
You should definitely hold that land in hand. I'm assuming they will, but you definitely want to because Price of Progress is one of the cards that can get you out of this. They can just chump block with the token here if they want to. They're going to take, though, I think. Okay. Seems reasonable. All right, well, there's that thing, which technically right now, because they have a land in hand, you could attack with.
Yeah, you could attack to cycle it, basically.
Maybe you do. They can actually attack with their stuff, and then they can use the 1/1, the Goblin, to sack and then kill the ooze off, with the exception of their Soulscar Mage and their token. The token's kind of irrelevant if you lose it. I can see attacking with Pup.
The ooze can eat the Robber of the Reach in response to it, right?
No, because you just put the damage on the stack before the damage from combat happens.
Right, okay, fair.
Yeah. You might as well attack with Pup, too. I mean, it'll take 3. You'll take 3 off of attacking with it, but you have the token back to block with. All right, they're going to take a more conservative line. Let's see what they get with it. They find a Traverse the Ulvenwald, which my guess would be the ooze is going to make it impossible for them to get anything.
I don't think. It does not have Delirium.
No, there's no way they have Delirium. There's an ooze in play anyway, so it doesn't matter. There's
sorcery and land are the only 2 things in Balex River.
Okay, so they are going to block here. There are no creatures in the bin at this very moment, so they can shoot this thing with the Fanatical Firebrand and get it off the board if they want, but why didn't they do it in response? Now the ooze can just eat that thing and throw out of range. That was probably a play.
Sorry, Traverse Ulvenwald was the Robber of the Reach card.
Yeah. That's what they found with the Robber.
No. They only have instant and no creature in the bin anyway.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter what they had in the bin because the ooze
can eat the whole bin in response.
Yeah, but I think Gozmit made a play error here. I think this was supposed to happen before damage happened. It did not, like you were talking about. So it's just going to eat the same things again and get bigger. So this is I don't know if this matters in the outcome of the game, but it's a pretty sizable. You want to do this before damage happens, so the creature is still on the board that it would be eating, because they have damn near infinite green mana, and they can just respond.
You let your opponent have a 3/3 and 1 life, basically.
Well, no, a 4/4 is what they got now, because they got to eat
the Soulscar Mage. No, wait, doesn't the Soulscar Mage?
Oh, actually, you know what? We're both wrong. We're both effed up on this. It doesn't work. Period. This Fanatical Firebrand has to sack itself to actually do the damage, so it's irrelevant. It would go to the bin, and then you could just eat it and respond to the ooze.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah.
Doesn't
That's
matter.
why,
like
because it
none
can
of that
eat-
even worked out.
That's
None of
why
that
it
even
has a
worked out.
4/4. Okay, yeah, because
None of it even
it
worked
also
out.
ate the
There
fanatical
was really
fireball.
no right way to do that. You were just attacking to get a draw step, but you probably shouldn't have sacked the fanatical firebrand. You know. All right, another mountain. You pack this one in. You're dead here.
Yes, but
I
this
think we did.
sword also like.
Oh yeah, you're really dead.
Yeah. You are super dead. Oh, how about now? This 3/3 has
That
protection
is,
from your
you
whole
can
deck.
block with
How
your-
about we
your-
do that?
your
Here's the
golem.
3/3 unblockable. Have fun.
Actually, if you just put that on the beast, you just win the game, right?
Yeah, you just win the game by
you
attacking
one
with
short.
beast.
You're one short.
But it doesn't.
Right?
Yeah,
No, you're
because
not.
the Ice Hate
It's
Golem
4
can
to 5.
actually block. Couldn't have
No.
blocked the beast, but it could have blocked. It can block the Vengevine.
So the beast becomes a 4/4, 5/5 on attack trigger.
Yeah, exactly,
With
and then the
exalted,
2
then 2
damage,
damage off that down to 0. Yeah, it's a game
Yeah.
win. So that's fine. I mean, I don't know if it matters that much. I mean, I guess it matters if they fiery comp pretty specifically.
Yeah, but instead there was I don't know
that one
of the
doesn't do
Great
it.
Travel, and Bailite gets this one. Gozmit
Alrighty.
was saying, "Hey, I've never lost to Abzan control in the previous game, and this is the loss."
No, I think you can. This is Abzan should be in general, like Abzan build in general, pretty advantaged because they're fair decks that generally go over the top. Fair deck like Red Deck Wins, which I consider Red Deck Wins a pretty fair deck.
Yeah, I mean, Bailite's build specifically
it-
is a little on the slow side in order to do that. Like
It comes down
it's,
to their build being specifically an Abzan control deck,
Yeah.
not a range deck. But they drew the mid range half of their deck. And when you have the mid range portions of your deck fueled out by Gaia's Cradle, which gives you fast man advantage early, if the creatures aren't removed, then you'll win games. That's kind of what we saw. It came out pretty well for them. What's going on in this game? So we have Institute 41 life versus Necropotence 20. Oh, it's a Turbofog game. I'm going to take a quick break so I can process what the hell's going on here and get more coffee.
Sure.
I'll be right back.
I think the opponents have some sort of like lands build, like on Naya lands maybe. I see that there's like Dark Depths and the Gaia's Cradle.
I believe this is
like
a deck
an
commonly
Ant
referred to as
Queen.
Cradle Hoof.
Oh, they're probably on Naya Hoof. I think it's a player that has
Yeah,
been
I'm
big
pretty
in Naya
sure. I
Hoof.
played them against them earlier, and it seemed like, and it still seems like I didn't ever see Crater, but they have Gaia's Cradle and a bunch of Manitoes, and it's usually a sign that they're playing. Ooh, they even got the Thespian stage in the grade they can get back next turn. That is, I'm not sure what points Necro on. So they might just like get a combo with Spellseeker here. Eldammer's Call. What does Eldammer's Call get? Oh, he has the Tamio. He has the Tamio emblem. Yo.
Yeah. There's some stuff going on. Necro, which is usually
boy.
accurate for Necro's games, honestly, but
True that. The Tamio, is that the one that's free? All you cards are free, right? You drew a bunch of
Which
stuff,
one?
I believe. The Tamio emblem, I believe, is all your cards are free cards.
this is the it's the Omniscience emblem, yeah.
Oh, is this what is this? Some X card spell? Sphinx's Revelation? Oh, called
Sphinx's
it.
Rev, yeah.
I called it. For reference, I am delayed and I just called it the second before we cast it. Explore, makes sense. Now he's basically playing Tamio Storm.
So we got going on here, guys? Got
Tamio Storm.
There's a Tamio emblem in play, and this game is about to be 1-1, assuming.
Okay.
Oh, we have a lot of activity in chat that I had not seen. Mink showed up and said, "Down with the Bailite tyranny, justice for goblins."
I mean, if you want to be Abzan control, just play blue decks. Blue decks will tend to beat it. I think more so even than like the red deck win style decks. Like, yeah. The problem with the blue decks is, I mean, they obviously assume risk versus the red deck win style decks. You know, but I don't think Abzan is like. I don't think it's like a deck that like. They're just playing it well. They're playing it well, and they're beating you with it. That's just that's just what it is.
Oh, what am I doing?
What is this Tamio emblem? Is this the one that makes 8/8s every turn?
No, that is a Cura emblem. This is the Omniscience one.
Oh, okay. Seems good.
Yeah, it turns out Omniscience is a good card, and having it on the play is good. Having it in play is good. Who was
I think this is one of those games where I think Instant Q could probably just Maybe they don't have to pack it in. They have a Huntmaster, so that can flip a bazillion times and like do damage through fogs, but they're 27. I feel like you're probably dead here, though.
Likely, yes.
Yeah, I think I would just pack it in. I mean, just me. Oh, are they on time walks? Infinite time walks? That seems pretty... So they're never not going to cast a spell in a turn because Ephemerate will always be a spell. All right, there we go. There we go. We got to the same spot. Like, if this is a time walk loop, like, you're dead. You just concede.
I'm not sure if he is on time walk loop.
Well, maybe not. But even a 5-mana time walk would do it here. Like, you know.
Yeah. The
I don't know
mana
what's in my
is
graveyard,
not
but...
the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, yes, Necropotence and RDV.
It's actually funny too because like Hoof is one of the decks that like, can definitely very easily lose to the deck that Necropotence is on, and like it's a very good deck. Like Naya Hoof is a better deck than like Turbofog, just in general. Like as a general like rule of thumb, it's just a better deck. It kills more stuff.
Don't tell Necro that though.
What's that? I'll tell
Don't
Necro
tell
that to their
Necro.
face. I'll be honest. I gave them a lot of suggestions on building the deck. But I think Naya Hoof like Death and Taxes even can struggle with a deck like Turbofog because like Naya Hoof is really just a very specific plan, and if you can attack along that axis combat step, which Turbofog can, then like it's gonna get beat up. And the same thing with DNT. DNT is a very fluid deck that is set up to generally beat like the other like to beat top decks, right? So like you're playing like Thalia's, which you should probably play anyways, but like it really beats up on like your Storm decks, or you know maybe you have like Spirit of the Labyrinth to stop Academy from getting mass draw spells. So the trouble is like D&T is a control deck. Oddly enough, it's an aggro control deck, and if it doesn't have the right control pieces in it, you know, a matchup that is attacking them along the combat step can just beat them. Like I've definitely played games with like what I think are very solid builds of like Death and Taxes, like Enchantress, and just like lost my ass because like they would play out like you know Elephant Grass into like you know Propaganda or something like that. I'd be like, well, I can't do anything now. So, did we lose you, Red Mage?
No. I'm
quiet.
setting up Ham Game.
Okay. Okay. Alrighty. I was getting the Google. Speaking of which, I'm sorry. Who else is in the booth right now?
This was Gozmit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Hey, what's up,
I
man?
believe, and I think everyone else is currently muted. Otherwise,
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't looking at that. I actually watched the stream itself, so not in Moto.
no man, you've been commentating for most of the tournaments actually this season, haven't you?
Quite a few, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
So
it's...
what takeaways have you been like? What do you think has been like overrepresentative? What has done well? What's done not so well in your experience?
Well, this season, there's a lot that's not represented in this metagame, to be fair with you. You don't see as much combo in this metagame. You haven't seen as much aggro. Like, I would have probably put your deck build in a spot to probably win this event. Based on what I have habitually seen, I don't know what everyone's playing this week, but I'll be able to know. I could know that
I would
right
actually
now.
argue there's like quite a lot of aggro. There's like I've seen at least 3 or 4 aggro decks.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I mean, you have WolfgangCloud, which is not a typical player who's playing in a build. Blahguy probably has the most aggressive habitual deck, which is like that black-red aggro deck. And being fair, they lost to red deck wins. They won the match, but they lost that game, being fair. In my mind, I just mentioned that. I don't know if you saw
Yeah,
that.
I mean, but that would have put an number 1-1, right? They would still have had another match.
I don't know if it was 1-1 or 2-1 or...
No,
I
that
don't know.
they were 1-0,
Okay.
and that would have put them at 1-1.
I just don't think that's definitive. That's just my mindset. Like, I look at it objectively and try to assess like where the decks are at and answer the question. Like, I don't, you know, to me that's... Yeah, I mean, it could be a tournament win. It's not in my opinion, it's not a game win. I'm just like, all right, whatever, that's cool. But I think that in general, aggressive decks are a little less represented. You see less Death and Taxes, which I think makes sense in this metagame because Death and Taxes is going to be better against a metagame of all mid-range decks. I think this is mostly a mid-range metagame. You have seen Einstein bring a type of combo Academy to the format.
not control either, like hard control.
No, I think control is actually in a decent spot in the
Like,
metagame, and I think
move,
very aggressive.
Which I don't think this is a good matchup. This is a good meta. Actually, this might be a decent meta.
Well, Croc brought it
Yeah,
last time. Croc is kind of a wild card. They'll bring whatever they want to. They brought Blue Moon last time. I don't think they fared very well with it. Although I do think they had a game where they probably, you know, I didn't see the game, so I don't know for a fact, but they probably lost to variance. They got 0-2'd by a 4-color mid-range deck, which in general, that's going to be a good matchup for blue-red. unless they have like really strong openers, or you get the mulligan a bunch. And they have strong openers. Strong openers versus mulls in any matchup is going to be bad for any deck. But I don't know if that's the case that it happened that way, but I assume it did because their deck typically would give for longer games. They were in a pretty fast 0-2 loss, so I was like, okay, well, my estimation of that is if you lose on a favorable matchup 0-2 quickly, you probably just got high rolled and you mulligan low. But yeah, no, I think you don't see as much aggro. You see some of it in the metagame. It's more mid-rangey, and you also don't see a lot of combo. I think you see control more than you see combo or aggro. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. A lot of the aggro you do see is either red-based decks like mine, or medium red decks especially, or black-based, and in some cases black-red-based. You don't really see, like, as you mentioned, the mono-whites. You don't see green-red. You don't see very often, actually.
No. I think Death and Taxes is a great deck. I think it's, like I was saying, when I played in I think it was season 3 or whatever, all of the main season games that I played in was I just played with the Death and Taxes list. And it did pretty well because it just got a pretty solid linear game plan. But like I was saying, I think that like a better deck choice than that would have just been red deck wins, because I didn't feel like my disruption was really all that relevant. It was about killing folks with permanence. In the games that I played, or finding my equipment and then like using equipment to kill them with inferior threats than what they had. But it's still successful.
I would have been more than happy if you were playing red deck wins instead.
What's that now? Oh yeah, for sure. If you're on red deck wins and you're playing against white deck,
one thing that should be said
generally
about it is have a great matchup against decks like, especially if there is, there wasn't a lot of red deck wins. If you do see a lot of aggro, then especially like mono black aggro, mono red aggro.
Mono black aggro is just not really a good deck. I mean, like,
I see what's going on. Okay, sorry. We're having to wait here because Necro had a crash.
Okay.
So,
I mean, I would suggest Red Mage when they get back in, we probably just tell them to start a new game because someone's going to go to time in this matchup.
Yeah.
Just a recommendation. I mean, they can do whatever they want. I'd recommend it if they're on a crash and they're trying to get their internet back up. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, like, for Gozmit, like, I think you're not wrong. Like, the matchup you don't want to see, and the reason that I tended to choose White Weenie or Death and Taxes in season 3 is because you were a more prolific player at that point in time, and I was like, I'm going to play against red deck wins. I'll just bring this deck because it will tend to crush you.
I may or may not play every
people with it.
Season 3.
Yeah, I was just like, all right, well, there's Wolfgang was playing a bunch, you were playing a bunch. I was like, all right, there's going to be 2 red-based aggro decks in this format.
Yeah,
like, white aggro is better than
people.
Yeah, and white aggro is just better at winning the aggro mirrors.
2 out of the 16 we started with, something.
Something like that, yeah.
So these players are going to be starting a new game as soon as Necro comes back, which might take a minute or so.
There's Clothes. Clothes is an interesting card. I'm not sure how you say that.
So if we talk about like,
I've been saying Clothes, but
again,
I lost you guys. What's up?
Sorry,
I didn't hear what you said.
I think if we were talking about the Turbofog Cradlehoof game, I believe it's a game where as a Cradlehoof you have to want to get quite aggressively for a fast hand, for a mana dog, and just something that really puts on pressure.
On a red deck, it's not a hard matchup. It's really easy. Like, in my opinion.
Red, but against Turbofog, because you really want to put them in a
situation
where they have to fog.
To an extent, yeah. I mean, you mull the 5 to get a solid, hand that goes 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop. But even then, like, white decks are 1.5.
I'm talking about Cradlehoof against Turbofog here.
Oh, Cradle against Turbofog, yeah, you have to just kill them turn 4. Like, in hope they don't have it. And if they have it, like, you probably just lose the game. Like,
You have to put them in a position where they have to fall.
It's a shitty matchup, honestly. It's not good for Hoof. Like, you would think it'd be good for Hoof because Hoof's like a quote-unquote real deck. But, like, you have to look at Turbofog as not being as much Turbofog. It's really, like, it does have fogs in it, but mostly it's time walks. That's kind of like one of the things from a building perspective. Like the very first.
That's actually a really interesting card. This is what is the new green regard called again?
It's Colties. That's the card I was actually asking TRM about.
That might actually be really good in this matchup, isn't it?
It can be. Yeah, it certainly can be if you get their time walk early, or if they're trying to do some recursion shenanigans. I think the problem is like with that card in this matchup, and it's a little harder to make it a 4/5. It is habitual damage. It is habitual disruption. But a lot of the Storm decks now, because there's so much like incidental graveyard hate, and a lot of like the Time Walk decks aren't going to expose it until they know that you're never going to have a turn again or the game's going to end. But it does.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like, you have to play that way. If you're not, generally speaking, you should probably not be tossing away your Time Walk. It's just like an incidental explore on turn 2 just to get another draw step. It's just, you're waiting on it. You're trying to build up to it. And then the same thing with Storm.
We're probably not going to have
specifically
Necros
thinking
hand
about
because
the fact
we
that
don't
it
want
is
them to
continuous
keep
overtime.
having issues with their computer. Like,
Why don't we
yesterday
jump to a
crash.
different game if there's
I
another
believe
game?
this is the
going?
last
They're going to
game
jump to a different
before-
game. They're going to do that.
Okay, yeah. If there's, we could jump back to this. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't personally
as, soon,
need camp.
as soon as they're actually back, which they're still
Sure.
working to get their
And
mono.
like I say, I don't know. I mean, it probably makes it easier for the viewers. I don't think. I mean, it helps a bit to have hand cams to kind of know where they're going. But like,
Yeah, it
generally
helps.
speaking, you
It
can
helps
tell.
to like actually like especially for some matches where most of the stuff that's happening is happening on the stack.
Turbofog.
But a deck like Necro is heavily redundant anyway, so like we have figured it out. They have fogs. We know what those do.
Okay. Yeah. I missed what you were saying, Gozmit.
No, I said, like, if this is a game where cams is either, like, control, combo, and what Necropotence is, on especially here, is a combo control kind of deck.
Sure. Yeah.
I'd probably say that's pretty fair to call it.
Turbofog, yeah, kind of,
Because
yeah.
You're delaying the inevitable, which is kind of the control, what controls it do. Until
Yeah,
you
I
can
mean, it's
set
a
up
pretty
the game
fair
plan.
combo control deck, I'd say. Yeah, but it is. Yeah, you're not wrong.
The,
I mean,
the
you have
idea is
stuff-
that for control decks, it's not it's evitable, but
Yeah. So we're watching Instant Q versus. Oh, this is the same game. All right. So I'm assuming the rest of the games are over now, Red Mage. Oh, okay.
That
Yes.
appears to be the case. Yes.
Okay. So yeah, the Turbofog deck's kind of interesting. Like it's gone through a bit of a genesis of sorts. Like I think when they first built it, they had a ton of literal fogs in it, and they had a ton of howling mine effects in the deck as well. To kind of get to those, like they had like Rites of Flourishing, literal howling mine, like those style effects. Like each player draws 2, and because I thought the deck was really cool. I think Turbofog in general is an interesting strategy. I think it's interesting. It's an interesting deck build because like I don't, like time walks, like taking turns has been explored pretty well in the format. But like a deck that runs more mana efficient ways of essentially gaining time walks against a decent portion of the metagame. I haven't really seen explored personally, so I was interested by the deck, and like I put a little bit of time in with Necropotence on building the deck into like a Bant shell that still utilized a lot of the fogs, but transitioned into more time walks, like had a mixed bag kind of approach to it, because the fogs really are kind of just they're pretty bad against some decks. Like red deck wins doesn't matter, like
I mean,
combo decks doesn't matter.
really, really good with the fog and silence combined.
Yeah, but there are some really good fogs in the game, right? Like Arachnogenesis is a hell of a fog, right? Like that's a really good
absolutely.
fog. Like it's a great fog. I mean, it is a fog. It's a 3-mana fog, but like against some decks, like that just if you get Arachnogenesis like and you're attacking with like mono black aggro or mono red aggro, like you probably just lost. Like,
Yeah,
maybe
I think
not,
that's
but like you
the-
probably did.
I believe there's the mono white squire as well. I can't remember what it's called. Like 4-mana.
I don't think they're playing that. Actually, I know they're not playing that one. They could. I know you're talking Selfless Squire.
Selfless squire. Yes, that's the one.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Which prevents all combination, and I believe gains that many +1/+1 counters
Yep.
that prevent.
Comeuppance, another one.
Comeuppance, yes.
It's a real card. You can play it. Well, it's not that real. I mean, it's kind of real. It's not that. It's a card you can play.
It has some characteristics of a real card.
Well, it does prevent you from dying. I mean, like Teferi's Protection is also a fog, right? I mean, because it basically phases you as a player out, quote unquote. I think that's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. And it is a pseudo sweeper as well. At the same
Mhm.
time, it's kind of really interesting.
Yeah. Yep. Comeuppance, sweeper, turns damage around. It's a very powerful effect. The thing with these cards, like this card, Settle the Wreckage, like they definitely overpromise, is my opinion on them. Like I played Settle when it first came out, especially in like a Mystical Teachings build of like Miracles, because I was like, all right, I can have another way to do this. To have like an instant speed way of like sweeping boards. It's not Cryptic Command, which is really good against like Hoof decks. But I can have this card that does the same thing, and like for like the longest time, people would like erroneously play around it. So like the card was kind of good from the standpoint that people would just like not attack you with everything. Just you get like a bunch of free turns, but you wouldn't have it. And then like when you did have it, like they would still be playing around it, and like it just wasn't that relevant in a lot of my playthroughs. So I was just like, I'd rather just have Supreme Verdict and like Terminus.
Red Mage, why did you put Arcbud on the screen if I may
Who
ask?
knows?
For whatever reason, these cards are kind of similar to each other in my mind, where they're kind of like these conditional effects that require your opponent to attack you to be good. There's also like a 6-mana one from Khans of Tarkir, I think. Let me see if I can find it.
I'm trying to remember the one red card. There's some red card that makes a creature damage to itself equal to its power.
Rake of Madness.
Yeah. Well, there's an
That's
older one too. I think that one's maybe I've had someone and
That
I
one's
really
not good. That one's not good. It costs 4 mana for, I believe. It's
There's
4
something
No,
like
I think it was 3-mana card.
There's the one with the
maybe Flame of Yambushi or something like that. Maybe.
Oh yeah.
There's a
I
weird
think
card
the
that
Flame
does.
of the Yamabushi is like
It made it
3
3 mana. I don't
mana,
remember.
deal 3 damage and exile the creature if it's dealt damage that way.
That may be it. But there's a card that I can't remember the name of it now. I think it has Flame or something like that, or
I would
whatever.
believe it.
Its name. That makes a
Indestructible?
creature do damage to itself equal to its power. And I've definitely played a game of 100 card singleton where I had a Phyrexian Obliterator in play, and someone cast that card on it, and because it's my permanent, it's my creature, it did damage to itself. Like I had to sacrifice 5 permanents, and it was pretty savage. It was hilarious.
The only cards I can find currently are Innistruggle and Rack of Madness. That make
That
them
may be the
fun.
Wrath of Madness. It was a weird card. Like it was a card that you don't really expect to see, and I was like, "Well, this card's dog shit." But like, I just utterly lost this game to it because I just sacrificed 5 of my. And it was like against like a blue-red deck where it's like, what is a blue-red deck gonna do? Is just bounce it? Like it's already on the board. What are they gonna do? Bounce it? And that's like all they could do. And then they had this card, and I'm like, oh my god, like why? Why are you playing this? It's so good right now, but it's so bad. But it was pretty funny. I was like, all right, well, probably losing. That was like many years ago, though, so I don't think it was a new card. It's an old-ass card.
Solar Blaze. Bailite put it out in the chat, actually.
What's that now?
Solar Blaze. 2 red, white.
No,
damage
it was a
yourself
red
equals
card, I
its
want to
power.
say. It could be that.
There's
I believe it
also
was a
a red-white
red card.
instant, I think, that does that.
Yeah, just the strikes.
to one creature.
Yeah.
Might be an
That's,
instant.
I know that card, but that wasn't the card that was used against me. I forget which. It was a mock
I'm
red card.
looking for it. I know they had I think I know the head they're talking about. It is from Kamigawa block.
It is, yeah. It's a weird Kamigawa card. I'm positive 'cause it had like some Aki like demon or like goblin art on it. And I was
looking
like,
for it.
this card is. I've never seen this card before. I never want to see it again. You shouldn't be playing it, but you just ranched the hell out of me with it. And I don't know what just happened, but it worked.
Oh, have we ever seen a card like that before? I don't think Minx had
There's
cards, but
Inner
it's,
Struggle from Innistrad.
No, I mean,
Yeah, that's the hand I was
thinking
about.
Aren't the one we're talking about here.
There's Rack with Madness
No, we have
from older Innistrad.
I'm
Dark
gonna look at.
Ascension.
I'm gonna look at Inner Struggle. I want to see what that card does.
Not
that
a lot
may
of-
be it.
Target creature deals damage to itself equal to its.
No, that's definitely not it. It's a 3-mana card. I want to say. I think it is Kamigawa block, but I could be wrong. I think it's around that time.
Oh, there's Kiko's Shadow.
There you go.
That-
That's the
A
head.
black
maybe.
sorcery. Target
No,
creature deals damage to itself equal to its power.
You
a black
found
card
it
or
at the
a red
same
card?
time that
Yeah.
I did.
Is it double
Yeah.
red
I
white
wouldn't
one?
red.
Double red one?
No, it's black. Double black.
That's a card. No, not the card I'm thinking of. I think the card I'm thinking of is double red one. Mana cost card, if I recall correctly. But
I'll find it.
anyway, I know it happened.
Oh, Kiko's Night's
I
Flower
remember very
also does
vividly
it.
this happening. Fucking god awful. Like this is really bad for me.
So apparently this is an effect that that black, green, black, red, and white get.
What's that now? You said burn?
No, this effect, target creature deals
It's
damage
only
to
in red
itself
now.
equals to its
White
power.
only got it once in Tempest.
Yeah.
White doesn't
Going
get it
through.
anymore. Black can
Now
get
he's
it
gonna
because
have to
black
go
can
through, like,
kill creatures in any which way. So like, I'm gonna bring us back to the booth while we wait for this match to finish.
I'm
Yeah,
not-
loading. Yeah, we're gonna have a round. We're right now just waiting for the results of this
Yeah.
one. I mean, at some point, TRM, we probably do just. I mean, what
Yeah,
do we
I
do,
mean,
right? If
I
they
need
crash for
to-
good. They crash for good, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna.
I can turn my camera on and juggle coffee cups, on people. As much as you all love to see that, I'm sure I'd probably just break one on my head. That'd be probably pretty funny too, actually. Why don't we do that?
I mean, I'd watch that.
I'm sure you would.
I am looking
Hey.
through all the Kamigawa cards and I can't find it. Not specifically.
It may not have been Kamigawa. Like this is a long.
No, I'm looking for it. I found
7
all the
years
cards
ago?
with that text. There is one white card from Tempest block. There are.
I'm not saying that's the exact wording of the card either. There's a card that exists in Magic. I know because I've had it cast against me that forced my Obliterator to in some way do damage to itself. It may not have. Yeah, it was my permanent had to do the damage to it. Then I had to sack the permanents. That's what happened. Like I remember it happening. I was like, God damn, this is fucking bad. Like, this is real bad. And I believe it has a CMC of double red and 1. Like that's that's what I recall of it, but it may have just been red.
Remember if
and
it
2.
was an instant or a sorcery?
I don't recall that now.
Hello.
I know who the game was against, so I can try to pull it up through the history of my games, but I doubt Magic Online. Actually, I know for a fact Magic Online doesn't have a history log that goes back 7 years or 6 years. Hello. Who was saying hi?
Hi. This is Balex Belson.
Yeah. Hey, what's up?
We have some connectivity issues here, and
Yeah, no, I'm trying to
Necro is,
figure out if Necropotence can actually like is gonna be able to join the tournament again. Like, I want her to be able to join, but I also can't stall the tournament forever. So like, okay, I think I think they got
right
there.
now they're just restarting it again.
Okay. Well, I think Red Mage probably just set a time limit to it. In the interim, I can just juggle coffee cups.
Sure.
You know.
I'm gonna say we're gonna.
Die with this card in the meantime.
In the meantime, actually, David Mink, get on the line. You're gonna juggle coffee cups, bud. Actually, Mink should do commentary. I bet Mink would be a standout commentator. Loman, please, I can't
If
juggle.
Mink wants to join the booth, he's welcome to. I am waiting for nothing but to not have to talk.
You don't have to talk, Red Mage. Actually, it's funny. Last time around when you were talking, it was mostly just explicatives because shit was breaking. Just be like, fuck, god damn it. I'm like, oh, hey, bud, what's up? Yeah, what's up, bud? Hey. I'd be up for Mink commentary. Yeah, me too. I'd like to hear some Mink commentary, you know. I think Mink's a little shy, though. I think Mink's kind of a shy.
I can't put anything in one red. That seems to fit your description.
Yeah, I mean, I could just be wrong. I know there is a card that does that. I'm almost positive it was just mono red.
Yeah.
How
there is no card
absolutely
that
dare
costs
you
one
go
red
there.
that has the word deals damage and itself in its cost.
Mink, you just have to remember I'm a very manipulative person, and I just wanted to get you to get on the line. You know, and it works. So, no, I'm just a fucking snake like that, you know. How are you, Mink? Welcome to the chat.
Doing pretty well. Got some work done. Gonna do some cleaning up today. Nice productive day.
That's good. You work with children, right? You're like an instructor or a teacher or something like that?
Yeah,
I'm an
intern at a program for like college-age students dealing with mental health issues, and so been doing a lot of Zoom classes. Also, just
I'm sorry. What's a
focusing-
Zoom class? I think of Zoom as being like physical activity.
No,
yeah,
Zoom is.
Zoom. It's like a video chat, like Skype or something. Like that.
Okay, so you talk to folks, kind of like a therapeutic thing.
Yeah, and then also just throughout the week help run different activities, basically just because like for people with like very bad depression and anxiety, especially now that they can't go out anywhere, a big thing is just like keeping them active with something.
Sure.
So like
setting small steps every day. I mean, a little bit about depressions. You know, like having small things to do on a regular basis to manage to keep self-value up, right?
Yeah.
That's a good line of work, though, man. I didn't know we were going to have a hero. I didn't know we were going to have a goddamn hero on the line.
No, I'm
Right,
just
it looks like Neko got it. I still don't see
right.
her join the game,
Well,
but they say
talking about small
it.
steps, we got connectivity on Necro side. So what else
Okay,
going on, Mink?
okay.
I'm excited for a lot
Let's
of these
go.
new cards.
New cards. Okay, well, we'll see. I mean, like, I don't... The coolest one that they have that's coming out, and I don't know if you can pull this one up yet, Red Mage, when we get into the game and you can pull up cards, is Sharknado.
Oh, I love it.
Shark Typhoon.
All of those
You
movies are
misspoke. I
cinematic
think you
gold.
mean Shark Typhoon. I think you misspoke
So
there, my friend.
my previous career was in military service, and I spent a lot of my time overseas. And the first experience I ever had, like, because in some parts of the world, like most things are pirated, most movies are. They're stolen and then put on DVDs and discs and sold. And Sharknado was like one of the top selling ones in a lot of the areas I was in. So like, I've never seen it. I've literally never seen it, but like I know the art cover like by the back of my hand, and it just always cracked me the fuck up. Like, because normally things are kind of shitty over there, and you'd be like, see these sharks flying out of a fucking whirlwind. You're like, this is fucking great, man. Like, look at this fucker.
There's like 5 of those movies.
Sure, I'll buy it. Like, it obviously sold.
There's Sharknado, Sharknado 2, the second one, Sharknado 3,
Please tell me.
I forget what the third one is, but then Sharknado 4, the fourth Awakens.
Okay.
And Sharknado, the fifth one is something to do with time travel.
So you weren't lying when you said that, like, these are things that you consider cinematic masterpiece.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Like, Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have assumed they really... The idea of it, just in general, cracks me up. And then, like, I was this card actually isn't bad either. It's not good, but it's good enough that you could play it in a blue control deck and it'd be fine.
Let's talk about something that's probably good enough. Fiend Artisan.
Oh yeah, that card's busted.
That card is pretty deep.
Which one's that, Fiend Artist? I
That
probably
is
know
the
it.
black
That's
green,
the,
black green hybrid. That gets +1/+1 for each creature card in your
Oh, the
graveyard.
menace cards?
And
Oh.
you can pay X.
And basically, please have it up here.
Oh yeah, sorry.
1/1 for black green hybrid. Black green hybrid. It is a nightmare. It gets +1/+1 for each creature card in your graveyard. It has.
Oh yeah, that
X
card's really good. Yeah, that card's really good. I know
Yeah,
you're talking about the
exactly.
birthing pod one. Yeah, that card's good. That card's really good.
It is incredibly solid.
So this game, there's some hoof cards happening. It's going to depend. Is that literally it's a Fierce Empath?
That is indeed a Fierce Empath, yes.
Yeah, I can never tell if it's Fierce Empath or if it's the altered art that came out in VMA for Elvish Aberration.
This is actually a really good hand for instant Q.
For who?
I mean, you can tell that it's not Elvish Aberration because that
Belson,
would require
Balex.
for Elvish Aberration to be in the deck.
My hope for the
Yeah, I wouldn't assume that card is, but like the art is very
Yeah, no, the art is similar for sure. I agree.
very similar. I think maybe done by the same person. Cards. Because it's not original art for Fierce Empath either. But yes, no, you're not wrong. It's a very good hand for Hoof to have because they have a fast Hoof draw. The thing is, I don't know. So they have what? They have 2, 3, 4, 5 mana available right now. This thing doesn't net mana yet. It only goes mana neutral, the Nykthos that is. So I think they're a little mana shy right now on their ability to get Hoof down and just kill them outright. And it would involve tapping 2 of their critters. I mean, not that that matters. They have 5 at that point.
I'm gonna be honest here, I don't think he has Elvish Aberration.
No, he certainly doesn't have it in his deck or in their deck. I don't know that for a fact, but like you probably don't play that card. It's pretty bad. But like the art is just really similar, and I was just commenting that like
basic from Necro when he doesn't know his opponent has a wasteland in hand. That ain't bad.
Well, part of that's
So
budgetary.
the art is from the same person. Johan Bodin is the person that drew both the new Elvish Aberration and the new.
I didn't know that, but the
Fierce
cards
Empath.
look. This is one of the things I was talking about art. If you want to go on a sidetrack about art in MTG, like art is so goddamn homogenous in a lot of cases. Like, and I was saying, like, I really like diversity in my art. Like, I think Seb McKinnon's art's great, right? Or like,
Yeah, that's why I like
Rempey's
artists
art.
that like
Really great.
don't look like
But, like,
the
I wouldn't want all
same
my
as
cards to
other
look like
people.
that. You know, I want my cards to be distinguishable.
Yeah.
And to me,
It's,
like,
it's part of the reason why I wish that we still got art from like the folios. I was talking about. I think I was talking about last week how like I
what's her name?
backed the folios, the folio, the Phil and Kaja folios
You gotta play that.
Kickstarter, and part of the reason that is that I really love their old art, even though it's effectively like really goofy, and yeah, like some artists I feel have been given this thing where like, oh yeah, most of the art look homogeneous, but we accept that Seb McKinnon, Rebecca Gay, Therese Nielsen, these people.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand that there are other issues with Therese Nielsen, but her art does look different than other people. But like their art is like not gonna look like other Magic cards. And we kind of give them a pass for that.
Like
and I wish that we had let the folios kind of be in the same way, but that art does look it's a bit much. Like
my thing is this, man. Like I honestly don't care. Like I find that like having unique art like that, you know, initially it's a slow burn in my opinion. Like initially folks are gonna look at it and be like, this looks like a Magic. But you know
Yeah,
what?
like,
You're gonna remember it. You're gonna remember it because it is different. Like you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I remember this shit. And like when I was a kid and playing cards, I thought the Foley art sucked. I was like, this art doesn't look right, you know. And then like now it's like, you know, I kind of like it because it's so vastly different than what you come to expect. And
Yeah,
like
it's
I think
quirky. I mean,
first
you know,
expectation is pretty
it's
important.
different than other cards, but it's not bad. It's like quirky and weird, but it's funny.
It's just quirky. Like it just didn't feel serious. And like
They,
back
they
then,
should
like,
get
Magic
them
felt more
back
serious,
for
you know?
unset art a lot, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
and I
that
just,
the
you know,
onset
like, what-
specifically would be the perfect
I
place
think
for
one of the two
them.
folio arts I do actually like is their sleight of hand. That one doesn't feel over the top in the same way.
No, it's not. Sleight of hand's pretty good. Browse is hilarious to me. Like I like Scheherazade, but like
I
obviously no one
mean,
ever sees.
that is also
plays it.
like the Ice Age. If you look at something like the Ice Age Swords of Plowshares, right? That art is by Kaja Folio.
Oh,
it looks
Not
like
to
a
interrupt you,
reasonable
Mage,
art.
but for this game specifically, do we have hand cams for Necro? Because that's
We will,
really
we will
important
not
right
have
now.
a hands game for Necros. I don't want to risk another
All right.
crash.
Okay, so it's pretty hard to tell what's going on in this game right now. I mean, we know that like they're
Oh,
dead next
speaking
turn.
of
unless
humility,
they-
I called it.
yeah, sure. I was just saying
That
it's,
could be
it's
enough,
hard to
though.
assess this game state. Like we could talk about this because honestly, we're just be guessing.
Yeah, that is
Because
enough. That's 2 mana off then.
so the Hoof.
Oh, but he's gonna have enough mana next turn. So
He can play an 8 mana 1/1.
Yeah, an 8 mana 1/1 that does nothing to the board, and they're attacking for
oh,
5
right, it
though.
doesn't
So
even trigger. That's right.
no, it doesn't. Like it doesn't trigger. Now I believe Necro is playing Moat in their deck. So if we see like the Moat humility, the game's just over, probably.
They
Yeah.
definitely play mode.
I know they didn't play against their deck. I
Yeah.
helped build it, and they've changed it since I helped them build it. But like that was a card I was like, hey, you know, if you're playing Light and 2, just play Moat. Like it's not great, but it it's fine.
But have you considered?
What's that?
Yeah, have you considered playing Moat? Like,
Well, I think they're playing Moat and they're playing Jace, Architect of Thought, which
yeah,
both
Definitely
do-
that does end the game with humility.
And I do not think that the Hoof deck is likely to be running like a spell-based enchantment removal card. It's probably
Oh
not
yeah,
reasonable.
no, they probably have like what's
So
his
it's a
name?
hard lock. If-
What's the new one? The new Rex Edge called the green one.
It's a Knight of Autumn. That one.
Out of
Yeah, but that still doesn't do it.
No, I'm tracking.
Exactly.
Yep,
Oh,
I'm tracking.
they could have Wardbreaker. Wardbreaker would do it.
Could also have a Treetop Village, which you get around it too. That specific combination. If this is a Jace, for instance, there's
Oh,
the
there's
moat.
the moat.
Yeah, there's the moat.
There's the moat.
There's the fucking
Wait,
moat.
wait! I have a solution. I know
Uh-oh.
one way they can
This
attack.
game's over. Right?
How can
No,
they
wait, no,
attack?
that's the stuff to immunity. No, wait.
No, none of it attacks. It's all 1/1 ground pounders.
Yeah, they use flying.
I think they're just
Oh.
dead.
Yeah, because all of Hoof's enchantment removal is creature based, right?
Yeah, it's like Rex Sages, and if they're Naya Hoof, they have. Night of-
I'll double check for you. I think Wardbreaker is the only card that
they-
gets out of this.
They may have a
Yeah.
Dramoka's command in their deck if they're playing Naya. I think we had it listed as Naya.
Yeah, but
in
Dromoha's
that-
Commander just gonna sack the library.
I'm tracking.
Yeah.
I'm tracking.
or the humility because it doesn't matter because I have a moat.
Humility.
Actually, no. There's
Yeah,
the birds, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a
never
bird.
mind.
Yeah.
Which you could buff
Yeah,
it up
you
with
can-
your.
Yeah,
just
Play a
right-
Hoof,
yeah.
attack with a bird for 8.
More
Your
likely,
hoof and attack
we
rate
can
with the
still
bird,
load
yeah.
and keep blind.
Into your fog, but you know.
They probably also have some more flyers. They probably have like the.
Greens
They could have the Pro Blue Flyer, Scrib Ranger.
Yeah.
Is he
It's
gonna
card
cast the
that-
Cradle Hoof just to have more mana?
Yeah, then Green Suns for a 1/1.
Alan,
Yeah, this is so savage. You're just like, what do I do? And this is
No, I
like
think
one of the
they
things,
just
right?
do
Like you
something
look at like deck
something.
and like folks were joking with them earlier, like kind of laughing and like joking about their deck. But
Absolutely.
again, like when you play a 70-30 deck, like 70-30 decks are not bad decks. They're bad decks against certain decks, but against other decks, which may be serious decks, more serious decks that have more flat matchups, like they can be very good. Which like against this Hoof deck, it's like what is this Hoof player gonna do? Like what are you gonna fucking do? You know, like nothing. Probably just die to it.
God, that's what you're gonna do.
I mean, I think that's what they're looking at right now, right? With this Green Sun, just like, what the fuck are they gonna
What
do?
do I do?
Yeah, exactly. It's like what do I do? Like
I mean,
just
Green Sun
die
ain't
during-
gonna do it.
well, yeah, I know, and they're also expecting that like your opponent who
Fun.
doesn't have just a random fog or counter spell, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Alright, I'm checking this Cradle Hoof list to see if there is literally any out.
my guess would be probably not. They could be running like some weird stuff, like if they like randomly had.
Are there any planeswalkers that do it?
I'm checking.
Vivian
Oh,
Reed.
Vivian.
Vivian
Vivian
Reed. They
Reed.
don't
Yeah,
play
Vivian
Vivian.
Reed.
They only play
Oh.
Vivian Champion of the Wilds.
Okay, so Vivian Reed's out.
Yeah.
Blast
I'm checking out.
Zone could be playing it.
They are not playing Blast Zone.
That would be bad. Like, you wouldn't want to run that card, but like I'm saying, if they had it, like, work. They could charge it up to a bazillion and then like blow it up for 4.
Yeah, blow up Blast Zone for 4. That does it.
I mean, I wouldn't be running that card in Hoof, but I mean, if they were,
I mean, I agree with you, but you know,
it's good here.
If they're clearly playing black, they're easily playing Rasmus content, really.
Well, if they're playing black, like the cards that would come to mind are like
Contend,
Corrupt Decay Assassin's Trophy.
Assassin's Trophy, that was the one I was going to make a joke about.
Yeah, and here you just blow up the moat and just attack them for lethal. I mean, they're like I said,
yeah, they have no odds.
yeah, okay. I mean, that makes sense.
Oh, Rick.
They don't play Wardbreaker.
Oh, too late.
Rurik Thar, why? Okay. So is that game? Was that a game 3?
That was
I
game 3.
think so, yeah.
Okay. Yep. I mean, and honestly, like I kind of expect the Turbofog to be advantaged in this matchup. That's again like 70-30 deck. Like we'll joke about the Turbofog deck or Turbofog or whatever we're calling this deck now. Kirby Vacuum Cleaner. You know, whatever you want to call it. Is pretty good against these board-based aggressive decks, right? Decks they're not going to have.
Okay, sorry. So I need the people to tell me what their results were for this round really quickly. And then I'm going to do some announcements, and then we're going to go into the final round. Blahguy versus Luca.
What?
What was the result?
Blahguy. 1, 2, 1.
2-0?
2-1.
2-1. Gozmit versus Bailite. We watched. Bailite won 2-1, right?
Correct.
WolfgangCloud versus...
I want to.
Who's these?
That's me. Sorry.
I need a name. Huh?
No, that's just Gozmit being sarcastic.
Gozmit, did you win 2-0? No, Bailite won 2-1. We watched that match. What are you talking about?
100% I won 2-0.
What? Gozmit
Yeah,
won
I
2-0.
definitely did.
Bailite
Yep.
won 2-0.
Oh, no, he won 2-1. I just won another
Okay,
game.
stop confusing me. Balex versus Necro. We had Necro 2-1. We watched that one. WolfgangCloud versus Evious. Do we have the result for that one? What's going on?
Why are there so many Sharknadoes? Joes, I don't know. But, you know, I can't say I'm unhappy about it.
Yeah, that sounds... That's
I mean,
Cheetah.
I don't normally get excited about Magic cards, like especially like modern Magic cards. They're like either like draft cards or they're like just good. And you're just like, yeah, that's a really good card and like cool. Like I'll play it and other people will play it. It's very rare that like I have childlike glee when I see a Magic card. And when I saw that Sharknado card, I was like, hell yeah, bud. And I also kind of like the nice tongue-in-cheek they made with like the shark Mana War, because the original Mana War art obviously had the jellyfish killing the shark.
Yeah, it had the shark.
Yeah, the original art had the shark getting demolished by a big electronic jelly. Although it doesn't really like equate to bouncing. It's more of like it was more of like what is it, skin rendering them. It was just killing the shark. But now it's a shark that bounces other things, so it's like the shark's revenge. So like I don't know. I think it's cute.
Oh, Evious
I think it's
won
cute.
2-1 against
We
won 2-0 against
what?
WolfgangCloud.
What's that now?
What did Hendral versus JPSS end up? What was the result for that?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Hendral won 2-0.
Okay.
Is there
That's
a
an
shark
invitation
card as
to
well?
either player to actually say something in chat. What did Einstein versus Evermist end up answering? Oh, 2-0 Evermist. I found that one in chat. And what about Brahms versus Loading? Loading 2-1. Okay.
There's evidently a shark bird in the commander set. That's cool.
Yeah, there is a shark bird and the goat
That's
bird
cool.
in the actual set. This set has a lot of weird birds.
like I the ones that got me that I thought were really cool are the one that's a shark counterspell, sort of. Like I don't think that card's great.
Shark counterspell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's great for like Canadian Highlander. I don't even think it's per se a great card generally, but I thought it was kind of cool. The Shark Mana War is really cool. You know, it's just a cool card. Like I actually like the non-modified art, like the one with the shark, the great white with the arms on it. It's just hilarious to me. It's just funny, but I really like the Sharknado, like the literal like enchantment that just, like shits out sharks whenever you cast spells. It's just cool.
So,
it's just funny.
while we're waiting for the next round, and I have it paired, I'm gonna pause it in a second. I just want to remind everybody that this is the last tournament for this season. We are gonna have tournaments for. We're gonna. I think our schedule is gonna look like something like next week or possibly the week after if we can make next week work. But like very soon we're gonna have the season end for the season end championship for this season, which is gonna be broadcast for this channel. You should follow me on Twitter at the Red Mage if you want to find exactly when because that's where I'm gonna post update, or you can be just on the Discord, which !Discord gets you there, and you will be able to do to find all the information in the tournament announcement section. It's probably gonna be in the same time slot, but in case it isn't, so the last, so that's gonna be pretty exciting to have the finals, to have the finalists play in the season and the championship and crown at season 5. Also, the other thing that is worth mentioning is that across next week and the week after, we are gonna be running our timing poll to determine which time slot we are gonna be for season 6. So if you want to enter this event, now is the time to go on the Discord and figure that and join the timing poll. I'll probably be posting it either later today or tomorrow, so that you can actually tell me when you're available, and you have your opportunity to influence when that is gonna be. So if you want to run the event and be with us for next season, that's your opportunity to make sure that happens at the time that is good for you, and you can actually do it, and you're not busy. Again, if you want to come to join the Discord, Discord will get you where you need to go, and you will find all of the help that you need in order to put decks together if you need to do that for the format, and also that's where we run the tournament. With that said, we have a round 4 posted. One player had to drop. I think that was Evermist. So if you are fighting against them, if your opponent is not around, I would feel free to join commentary, and I will be watching Blahguy versus Bailite now. And
sweet. So we get some black-red aggro versus.
Yeah, for all of the
if
marbles.
Anyone in the viewing gallery that I was talking about that utterly ranched me on a Phyrexian Obliterator was actually Deadshot out of 10. That is the card. Actually, Croc found the card. It was Deadshot. It had art that looked a lot like Yambushi's Flames. It has like that big Krovix face on the front of it, as opposed to Yambushi on the other card.
Kumano, I believe, is the name of the guy on Yamabushi's Flame.
Krovix, or is it Yambushi? Or
no, the Yamabushi is a title.
Oh, okay.
The name of the guy is Kumano Master Yamabushi.
Sweet. Yeah. Cool. I agree. I know Krovix is the face on the other one, but their faces look kind of similar. The art's a little similar on them. I think that's probably why I misremembered it as being that card. It's similar but different. Obviously, the Kamigawa block art is kind of different from most arts.
Yeah, lots of Ron Spencer pieces in that set.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, we are getting ready to go. Let me send some invitations to...
Oh, disregard. No, it was Brahms that got it. Oops. Sorry, Croc. Sorry, Brahms. Unless you wanted to change identities, then by which case, I guess that's good.
But then you would have to be Croc, which implies being in Florida, which sounds...
I mean, I'm in Florida too, so what are you saying?
Yeah, and...
What are you saying here? What are you saying here? Can you finish your thought? I don't care. I don't care if people make fun of Florida. People make fun of places that they don't live, or sometimes they make fun of places they do live. People just like to make fun of shit.
Exactly.
Places mean I get mod powers.
I say again, mod powers. Do you want mod powers?
No, that's too much responsibility.
Well, not really. You just have to tell people not to be assholes, and then like give them. You have to give them like permissions.
You have to give them permission not to be an asshole. Right.
Yeah.
I have Blahguy's hand. I'm sure Bailite will share his momentarily.
Why is Bailite's name written out as Balex Benson?
I'll need to fix things. Give me a second.
Okay.
Hand counts.
I wasn't
then
sure if that was like their actual name. I'm like, goddamn, man,
okay?
badass first name. You're like a goddamn GI Joe villain, right? That's a sick first name. No, sorry for doxing you, because there can only be like one person that has the first name Balex. That sounds like a goddamn chemical. Pretty badass name though.
Blahguy's aspect ratio for his hand is like
it's got
extremely different than anybody else's.
It's really small.
Yeah, so like it takes some adapting, but
this hand can cast all but one of its spells with a mox, a single mox. So maybe it'll get there. I feel like this is one of those hands that unless you draw a land on turn 2, you're probably going to peter out. And if you get hand attack turn 1 by like a Thoughtseize or Duress, this whole game can kind of go sideways for you. It's a mulligan to 5 though, so it's understandable to keep it.
I've had those hands, just like your dream.
You keep it.
Yeah, no, but your dream hand, and then like turn 1, I-OK, and you lose.
Well, especially on a mull to 5, like I-OK, like hand attacking on turn 1 on the play is great. Like you don't generally want to do it unless you have like very, very forced mana development issues. Like you need to cast a 2-drop into a 3-drop into a 4-drop to enact your plan. Then you just do it. But typically you want to save it. But if your opponent mulligans to 5, like wastelanding turn 1 and like IOKing or duressing turn 1 tends to be a lot better because it very much so limits the range of their keepable hands at that point. So yeah, we're gonna see a turn 1 Stoneforge Mystic, which I don't know that Bailite is playing Batterskull in their deck, but if they are playing Batterskull, they evidently don't want to cast that turn 1. I think I would have just jammed in that Stoneforge. I guess you could be playing around hand attack. I'm pretty sure that fetch can fetch it. Maybe it made their further progression awkward. All right, so they find one land off their Winding Way. I still don't get why they wouldn't cast out the Stoneforge there, though. Maybe they just don't have Batterskull. Maybe they only have, like, Jit or... They probably don't have Jit either.
Swords, but...
Just Sword? Yeah.
You would probably play Batterskull in the deck, right?
In this style of deck? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Their deck? Yes. It's a control. It's casting Emrakul, so it's like, yeah, you play Batterskull.
So yeah, casted Batterskull.
It's not looking to win fast. But like that is a way to kind of like, I mean, there's the Thoughtseize. So now, well, I guess now they can hand attack. And depending on how they want to progress their hand, which is likely to cast out this Stoneforge Mystic, they probably want to take the Thoughtseize. It's not like their opponent's hand really develops that quickly. Although either way they go, they're gonna either lose the Stoneforge Mystic or lose the equipment they find with it. They opt to take the Thoughtseize. That said, any equipment they get's probably going to resolve because it's going to resolve and be relevant eventually because they have this this Angel. Now what's interesting, because they didn't draw land here, is do you develop the threat or do you develop just Fatal Push this thing? I don't think you're in a winning spot either way, but it's an interesting... I'd probably just push, and hope they don't have a follow-on threat because I'm so far behind. They're going to develop the threat, though. Okay. There's a Savine's Reclamation, some more value.
They
can actually fetch here.
Do you want more value to go with your value?
Yeah, a lot of value here. They can actually just fetch, get the fetch back, and still have mana up to cast the Stoneforge, or to use the Stoneforge Mystic to put the sword into play, and have it on flashback the following turn because of the extra land drop from the Savine's Rec to flashback the Savine's Rec to get back their dead creature and to get back on their fetch land. So I think I would have just actually Savine's wrecked here personally, but just to develop that option. All right, well, they're going to Fatal Push one of these things. I also don't know if they have more equipment. We know they at least have a skull clamp.
So
Bailite, that is.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No
Does everybody have a match they're playing, or did we have anybody actually drop
on a buy?
Yeah, I think
Evermist dropped.
Evermist dropped. Okay, so Brahms, do you want to like take over commentary for this one, just so that I have more time to dedicate to like running the hard reader and doing like tech and stuff?
I mean, I can do if you want me to, but I've never done commentary before.
Well, there's always a first time.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to BS me, you can, or I can just.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to, you
don't
have to. Like, I'm
I'll
just
give
saying.
it a go.
Sure
Right.
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
So here, I think what was interesting about Bailite's line of plays, I think I personally would have tried to set up the Savine's Reclamation turn in the expectation that they would have cast out the Fatal Push, which is odd they didn't on their turn after Bailite tapped out, because now they know that if they cast it, that their opponent, Bailite, has a Restoration Angel, which is a known quantity. No, it's not a known quantity. They haven't hand attacked. Their hand attack spell got taken with Inquisition. So I guess they don't know that here. So
I think they're maybe waiting for the Sophie equip before casting the push.
That's sensible. It's just not going to work out any way you look at it. They're going to get attacked for 1, and then their OP is probably just going to leave up the Angel here. Be my guess, try to snap them off in combat, and then get Fatal Push post-combat. If they hit a land, the range of options open up. I don't think here I would, I don't think I would just wait on it. It's not dead. That is an Azra warrior that makes all 2/2. I forget the card's name, but not a bad one. They go ahead and fetch here to try to get them in combat. Now, what's interesting is, like, do you actually fatal push? Do you fatal push the Angel post combat, or do you kill off the Stoneforge in response to this trigger?
I'd kill it. I'd kill the Stoneforge.
Yeah, it's an option. I mean,
I think you're dead either way, and probably should
I think it's very tough to get back into it. You're looking at having to draw forces into like a Fire Covenant to like kill the whole board, and then maybe try to get there. Probably not get there though. So if they're doing this line, the pretty obvious thing is they're going to fatal push the bird, the flyer, and now they're going to get battered into the earth by a Stoneforge Mystic with a Sword of Hook. Yeah, so we're not going to see the most interesting of game ones. It's a mulligan to 5 that failed to kind of hit what it needed to hit, which was mana resources. Not a bad bet, because that's the most likely draw in almost any deck, with the exception of 9-land Belcher. But yeah, unfortunate to see it happen this way. But this is how this game's going to go. The good news is we'll get to probably jump into some more games if this one goes quickly.
Yeah,
I do think the downside, I think this matchup's more a struggle for the Rakdos deck. The mana is going to be a little more specific. It's going to be a little more difficult to cast spells. There's more that can go wrong with the mana. Whereas, I guess like red deck wins, like their mana is always going to just work if they have lands to play.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the better removal, but
yeah,
it doesn't matter if you're getting stomped.
You got to be able to cast your spells. It's kind of the thing. And their opponent's seeing 2 a turn. They've got access to, even more than that with the Skull Clamp. Got a lot of value there, and wasn't able to lock up some early pressure to keep Bailite honest. They just got to kind of just do exactly what their deck wants to do, which is just grind out cards. Now, I think this is a mulligan from Bailite. I think I would mulligan this hand. It's a very risky one.
From both players.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
No
I also asked Blahguy to make the cards in his hand just a little bit bigger, just so that we can make out the names while they're there. Because the resolution was just too small to do that.
Flamekin Adept is an interesting card to see in their deck. I believe it's Flamekin Adept. It's the elemental 1/1 that puts an elemental card from your deck on top of your deck. My assumption is probably to get Lightning Skelemental or Lightning Skelemental or Skelemental, whatever that.
Why do you see this Flamekin Adept?
Well, it's not in their hand anymore. They mulligan it.
Oh, they
mulligan
mulligan
it. Yeah. So definitely an interesting one to see, though. I don't think the card's that good, but it's interesting. Like, maybe they really want to have access to like their Ball Lightnings, their Skelemental.
Yeah.
They're certainly powerful cards.
Do you mean Flamekin Harbinger?
That's what I mean. Yeah, that one. The 1/1 that puts an elemental on top of your deck.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I was like, I looked for Flamekin Adept and just couldn't find it.
Flamekin Adept's probably a different card. The names of these. Yeah,
it's Flamekin Harbinger. It's a 1/1 for 1, and it does the thing.
I forgot the last word in that name.
Yeah, that's fair. There's
not
a lot of very similar cards that do the very similar thing.
Yeah, it was.
So Bailite did choose to keep this hand. Yeah. I think this hand's very risky. Like, if their opponent just kills their spell.
Do you, because do you rampage or do you
Oh, I killed their bird. Yeah.
Yeah.
You bolt the bird every time.
Day of the week.
Yeah, I killed the bird this time. I just
You always kill the bird. You always bolt the bird unless it's also a goat. Then you do not bolt it. Do not bolt the goat bird.
I do think that I think versus this deck specifically, you definitely do because they're big clunky like spells. I think on some decks like 4-Colored Blood, like there's definitely a decision point to either do it or not do it because they also have viable and good 2-drops.
Yeah, I mean, if I've got like a Toxic Deluge in hand, I'm not bolting the bird.
Yeah. Although, I mean, like, nowadays, like, the risk that they just play a good, 3-mana Planeswalker is still pretty high, right? Like, if they cast a Liliana there, you'd probably lose. Don't bolt that thing? Okay. Nope, that'd be a bad one to bolt.
Yeah, you always bolt the bird, unless it's also a goat, then do not bolt the bird.
Seems like a fairly solid rule of thumb.
That could be a bolt that can't be prevented.
I suppose.
So there's actually a few. I mean, you could
if you have Soulscar Mage,
just counteract it.
Yeah, how does that work?
I think it would actually come down to replacement effects and timestamps.
Actually, it doesn't work the way that you want. The controller of the Stonewell Capridor gets to choose which replacement effect is applied first, because it always the person that controls the player, the thing to which the replacement effect would be applied. So they can choose to get +1/+1 counters instead of -1/-1 counters.
Okay.
We could just use cards that just say prevent damage, like Superior Vortex. No, wait, that's not prevent damage.
You could combust it. Combust would work.
Yeah.
Solemnity.
The mana appears that it's going to be working. Point. The mana is going to work out. So Blahguy is going to be in a tough spot here. This is a lot of life gain. This is good mana at this point with good high value creatures. They also have the Tainted Pact, which will allow them to find the white mana to unlock the trapped Eldamri's Call in their hand. And I feel like at this point, like, what are you doing with this burn spell? Like, maybe you're burning off half of the Sphinx just to kind of get the board opened up a bit. Because I think your end game in this game probably has to be trying to get this Figure of Destiny to be just massive and get over the top of them. They're going to attack with both, I guess. I kind of like keeping the Figure around, though. I think the Figure maybe...
I think that unearthing it...
That's true. They can unearth it, and then throw the burn spell with the other half of the face. I think probably the Sphinx. Just to get it off the board and open it.
They've only got one... Oh, yeah, because unearth is black.
Yeah, they can just unearth it and then get that thing out of the bin, turn it back into a 2, or they can burn this thing for spectacle cost right now.
Having played against Bailite many, many times and lost many, many times, I have gotten into the habit of sometimes leaving the Sphinx alive just because of Unearth, all the different... Because Bailite's really high on, like,
Unearth and Reanimate are great. Yeah, they're really good.
Like, I have had to kill a Plague Engineer 3 times against Bailite.
Yeah. I tend to find that, like, if I'm going to try to... If I want to Bailite, I play a blue. Like, blue decks will tend to beat that style of deck. Now, if you're playing an aggressive deck like this, like, yeah, I mean, you just... Sometimes you do just leave the Sphinx alive and try to go over... I don't think this is a hand that really has that option, to be honest. You have to just get it off the board because too many of your resources are tied to having an open attack lane. So I think it's kind of almost forced, right? Like, it's, you don't think so?
No, don't mind me. Sorry, I just
okay.
hiccuped.
No problem. I was like, I don't.
No,
that's like
that sound was just a hiccup.
I'm definitely open to other options on it or other takes on it, for sure.
What is that card in Bailite's hand?
I don't know, just like based on the board, I would have been.
Eldamri's Call, Tainted Pact. Sorry for interrupting, but it's Eldamri's Call. Yeah,
Custody Leech was fixed on Magic Online. That's what it card is.
Yeah, that's that card is what you're asking. Yeah, it's Custody Lich. Yep. Sorry, what were you saying, homie?
I don't know. I'm more of a fan of pumping the Figure back up to a 2/2 and then leaving the removal for the next turn.
Sure, that's not a bad option either.
I mean, also lets you see what like this finds.
Yeah, I don't think this game.
Not Night of Autumn. What's the green?
Courser.
One green white.
I'd get Courser.
The lands.
I'd get Eternal Witness and get back Kitchen Sink and seal the door right shut.
I don't think.
Yeah,
I can see a
Knight of the
large
Reliquary.
range of options.
That's
This
what I was
seems like a good
thinking.
one too. Now, is Blahguy running Price of Progress? Because if this does find like a Gaia's Cradle to turbo out a bunch of spells in one turn, like it's possible they could get them with a price. It's also going to do a lot of damage to them, but if they can find themselves in a spot where like they're slightly ahead on life total, and their OP has 8 damage on board due to their mana base with a tapped like Wasteland, maybe they can get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to play to your ounce. I think like right now, like one of your better ounce, probably a Price of Progress.
Yeah, Price of
If you
Progress
get the damage
definitely
in right
has
now.
this capability of winning games absolutely out of nowhere. Where
Yep.
like, oh,
Well, I got pointed.
yeah, no, we were talking about it that around the time, right? But there are a lot of games against aggressive red decks that end up boiling down to the red decks can absolutely not win this game in any way, shape, or form unless they draw Price of Progress, at which point they win the game on the spot.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah, like when you stabilize and then they 10 you out of nowhere.
Yep. No, it's a good one. Not a bad card.
I had a very interesting game because Bailite's also been messing around with Jund aristocrats.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so I had an interesting because I had Price in hand, but he had a Blood Artist and a Yawgmoth on board.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was very tricky finding the timing between the different life gain triggers and sack triggers, draw card to kill him.
I would assume it's when like ideally when like the last threat that that's not Yawgmoth, they're able to play to when they tap out for that threat after post drawing multiple times. I would assume, but I don't know.
Because it wasn't about that. It was about the timing around the sacks and the Blood Artist triggers.
Yeah.
To get him
they weren't letting each independent trigger resolve before going to the next sack.
No, they because I forget exactly what it was, but it was with one on the stack. I killed something else.
Because you're right, I've definitely won games where like,
yeah.
especially on Moto, folks will stack up a bunch of that crap and like they won't let each of them resolve, and you're like, all right, cool, bam.
Yeah, no, he played it perfectly. It was just very tricky.
Yeah.
I've
that could be a
lost
tough
lot of
matchup for Red,
games
especially.
against Bailite.
A lot of choo-choos there.
Yeah. No, I think this one's kind of over, guys. I mean,
There's no way to win.
Unless
even Price doesn't win. Even Price doesn't get it.
You can knight for a white source here to get that call going.
Yeah.
And then you're off to the races.
Yeah, so if you like knight away, I mean, Bailite is going to be familiar with the fact that even though their opponents on 0 cards, like Price of Progress could be in their deck. I don't know if it is or not. If it is, they're probably not going to sack the forest. They'll probably sack the Bayou here and just get... Oh, they're going to sack the forest.
Yeah.
Which I think is a little bit greedy, but it's fine. They could just find a plains, too. Just find a basic plains would make sense. Then it's not greedy, but it's fine. But
I'm calling it... This will be a Price of Progress. And
No, I don't think it's enough.
Yeah.
If they
Price
tap
is
out
only
and they play
10
an additional land,
here.
it could be. That's 10 damage, down to 5. It's not...
Oh. Wait, what? Emrakul the Promised
Yeah,
Land.
it's a control deck. That's a Yahenni's expertise, though, which is going to sweep the board.
Yeah.
Or is capable of sweeping the board.
Oh, and you get the free cast of the Tainted Pack.
You could. My guess would be they're probably just going to play out not the Yahenni's expertise this turn, though. They'll probably just play out the Custody Lich. They get Gaia's Cradle here if they want to just have a turbo turn where they get this Emrakul out, which is possible, I believe, here.
Yeah.
So they can tap out for Emrakul, and now they're probably just going to win.
Yeah, this game is over. There's
Well,
no
no,
way.
it's not. So, like, they get
not
to take the next
quite
turn.
over.
They eat all of their opponent's board. That is a Goblin Guide. They probably won't cast it here. But if their OP attacks with everything, if they force their OP to attack with something, get eaten by the Emrakul, right? Like, it gets eaten by the Emrakul. And then they have, 8 power on the board with only 3 blockers. So they eat one of these 2 things. I guess they want to trade off with the Goblin Guide, or maybe they just take it. But if they take it,
Figure might be the better.
the next turn, if they do draw Price of Progress, they win the game, right?
Yeah.
They will. Yeah. So there is an out. It's not impossible, but it's very unlikely.
No, because they only get in for 2.
Yep,
2,
2.
12.
It doesn't matter.
is
It's not the card.
14.
So they're one short. That's
Yeah.
fair. They're one short.
Got the Emrakul.
They're
Right.
also not technically dead on the crackback because the Emrakul does not kill them from 14.
No, but if Bailite draws a fetch, the Henny's not enough.
Bailite has green suns on top.
Yeah, what they can do is if they draw, they have Gaia's Cradle. So what they can do is they can cast Yahenni's Expertise, blow up the board, attack. Well, actually, I'm sorry. Attack first with Emrakul, put them down to 1. Cast Yahenni's Expertise, cast the Tainted Pact off Yahenni's Expertise, find Collective Brutality, cast Collective Brutality to dome the 2.
Why wouldn't you just green suns for Siege Rhino?
Hey, you could do that too. I mean, you just drew that. Like I'm just saying.
Yeah, Bailite has a bunch of ways.
A million ways, but like if I was just gonna Tainted Pact for an answer, it would find Collective Brutality, just dome for 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, they drew this. I mean, they can find Siege Rhino with that too. It doesn't matter. I mean, like they were winning this whole. Like.
But Bailite's gonna find Siege Rhino because, Siege Rhino.
Yep. They can't gain the life back, though.
Oh, no.
All right.
Bad card. Come on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So, that's that one. That is that. And I think the Bailite, unless we have another undefeated player, is probably going to be this event winner again.
Yeah, Bailite wins the whole thing. No, 16 players makes for a very clean bracket. You have,
Do we
after
have any
4
other
rounds, you
undefeated
have
players?
exactly 1 undefeated.
Okay. So, what other games do we have playing right now? Do we have any others that are up still?
Yeah, we
Hendral and Cheetah are
should.
finished. There's Loading versus WolfgangCloud.
Yeah, there's Blahguy versus Bailite. There's Luca versus
over.
Evios. There's JPSS versus Balex Belson, and that's it.
All right, let's check out the last of those. That sounds.
You just like the name Balex Belson.
Please don't.
Well, I mean, I
spectate
like that,
us
but it's more so that we haven't seen any of JPSS's games yet, right?
You're right.
Yeah. So we'll check out. Well, they're on a red deck.
Oh,
wins.
look
They're
at
on
here.
Goblins. They're on Goblins. Like it's
Yeah,
Goblins.
they're on Goblins.
Sick.
I am going to go on a quick break though to grab some more coffee, guys. I'll be right back momentarily. All right.
JPSS was actually on my personal stream yesterday, which at the Red Mage on Twitch also, and he was. We were talking about deck choices and whether he was going to run Goblins, and he was saying that he was considering whether to run mono red Goblins or Mink's version of Goblins, but then he didn't. I don't think he had the budget to buy fetch lands, so.
Yeah, this based on the skull crack I see in the bin, this looks in mono red, and that confirms it. I don't trust my mana base enough to get the you can only afford a couple double reds on 2.
We also had a long discussion about why he shouldn't be running Withering Boon, and
I mean, that is 100% true, but you get style points if you run Withering. But...
I don't know if I attack with the Sledder.
What does Sledder do?
It's you stack a goblin, give a creature +1/+1. It's one of the most important cards in the deck for combat.
Which card are we talking about?
Sledder.
You just lose the Sledder.
Oh, Sledder. Yeah, Sledder's really good. So is the other Sledder.
Yeah, I also think you block with Finks against the Sledder because they're gonna because that way if they want to keep it alive, you have to sack the entire board to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here.
Why would you not sack
just pay
four
1 to.
Oh,
creatures dying anyway?
that's aggressive.
Of course.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Neither do I, but that's fine.
Ember Hauler kill the.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
If
but
you
just
activate the Ember Hauler, then suddenly there's a big old.
I mean, the other problem is,
yeah.
mine's trapped.
Yeah, you can't activate Ember Hauler here.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you do, you'd lose.
I did notice the stage was on the field.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, they're kind of trapped into leaving the strip mine up forever, or until their opponent draws a wasteland and just wins. But I still think that combat step could have been managed better. I don't think you're wrong there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Goblins, I will say, takes a while with Sledder math, with recruiter lines.
I'm assuming this is Mink here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm out of curiosity, how long does it take? I bet there's a lot of considerations when you're doing boon math, because it does abate some of the race. the favor, to your opponent and like the life loss you take. I'm sorry, I can't keep straight.
It is sometimes it doesn't matter. Like when you boon a big green thing, it doesn't matter. But I've booned like the 1 mana Gideon creature just because.
Yeah, Gideon. Yep.
Yeah, just because I was looking at opponent's hand, how many cards they had left, and I didn't have removal in my hand, and they were gonna untap with it, make it indestructible. So I was just like, this is my only opportunity to kill it. So I booned it.
Yeah. So I cast a boon. Got it.
Yeah.
Boon is almost detrimental,
no,
right?
I don't think you're wrong. I think Goblins is one of those decks that even
I have a question.
more so. Oh, okay.
Oh no, I was just gonna question why is Balex in the call? Because aren't they playing?
I don't think Balex Belson's in the call. I think they're in the game. We're talking Mink, you.
No. But he is in Aggro. He's currently in Aggro.
Okay. Well, let them know. Probably go to another room, or maybe they probably have their headset deafened. I can't imagine listening to all 4 of us.
Yeah, JPSS is also in the hole, but
strategic
he's deafened. Balex is technically not.
No, Balex is not in the game.
Oh, I'm just saying the wrong person's name. Then this is instant you. Yeah.
The one who's in here who doesn't have muted is Balex, who should be muted, by the way.
Yeah.
He should definitely mute himself because we're definitely talking about this game.
They are.
Has like lightning bolt in it.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying like.
And I'm definitely not lying.
All right. Maybe they just left. I don't know. I give people the benefit of the doubt and assume they probably just have it deafened because why would you cheat in this event? Like what's the point?
Yeah.
You're going to be the grand champion of trophy over your head, I guess. I don't know.
Like the green circle is.
Maybe they disconnected. They're not doing anything.
Yeah, who knows? So I was going to kind of piggyback on Mink's comment about Goblins. I think any deck that you play is going to scale with your experience with the deck, with your skill in the game, the format, all that. But I do think Goblins probably has... I don't think it's as good a deck as Red Deck Wins, but I do think it has a higher ceiling for player capability in it. I think it is a deck that has more play to it than Red Deck Wins, but not to say that either deck is like easy to play. I mean, both of them are fairly easy to just play at the base level, but I think
they left the chat. Okay.
Both of them definitely scale far more than you would expect. Goblins especially. I think Goblins has a ton of play to it. You get into
having played Goblins, I'd say it's pretty hard to play well.
Yeah, even now I mess up recruiter lines. Like,
you push undo and then cancel the whole game. Wait, no, no. Goblin Recruiter is actually pretty awesome. It's not fun on Magic Online because it just takes forever. You're just like, all right, I'm gonna go get myself a snack.
I think this was one of the games that was like being watched on 10th point. I recruited. Bailite gaunted me.
Ooh,
I sacked recruiter, got it back, and had to reorder my entire library again.
I think you timed out or something. And then we went to the game 3. Yeah, it's a very time-intensive card on Moto. But
I don't know why they would do this. Like this is a
because they're they did it backwards, but yeah, I mean they're copying a mountain. Oh, they just want to get rid of it, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe because we don't know their hand. They might have a
Huntmaster.
Maybe
buys
that
it back.
off red.
You know what makes the most sense? Huntmaster of the Fells. Huntmaster of the Fells.
Yeah.
That is the card that makes the most sense here. On this mana. Okay. Or just Land Tribe.
Or they might be playing some of the red-green planeswalkers, like
they could.
Xenagos.
Yeah, Xenagos makes sense. Arlen Cord is another card that could be a thing they're casting. Domri Rod.
Now I don't know that the only 2 red cards I remember having seen from him up till now is Domri, not Domri Raid, sorry.
We've seen
Huntmaster, you mentioned.
Yeah, we've seen Huntmaster.
And
we've seen Ruriktar.
Ruriktar,
well, Ruriktar's a 6-drop though, so I mean that could be what they're doing. They're setting up a 2-turn cycle to get Ruriktar down. Well, this is a big boy. This is a big beautiful
bear.
boy. Big beautiful bear.
Lad.
Probably gonna get an empath into maybe.
I'd honestly get Ewit. Maybe Ewit to get back.
He could also grab Clothis for the life game.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think Ewit just wins the game.
Yeah, I think Fierce Empath really wins the game because they have 1 mana short of casting a Hoof.
Yeah, it's hard to know without seeing their hand.
Yeah, but you're at 15 life. You're against 2 onboard goblins. Like, what are they gonna do?
Do that,
What's that now?
Manamorphose into Consonant.
That's not much.
Yeah, 2 cards in hand, 2 lands in play, 4 power on board, one of which is mutable to become burned towards a creature. Like, I think I would just go for the line that wins the game. Like, just if I draw a land drop, which is decently high, then
This is a weird get. Like,
Nah, if they're getting
no, it's
wood
not.
out here, they've got hoof in hand.
They have hoof in hand. Yeah, that's what it is.
ah,
That's exactly what it means. They have hoof in hand.
that's why
or
I said
they,
it's weird.
or
Like,
they
if they're
have,
not-
or they have a Green Sun Zenith in hand, and they're looking to draw one more Sun Zenith into hoof. Is why they would do this. I would not have gotten a non-basic though. Not that like you're probably going to get life from this point, but like why take the risk?
Yep.
There's an oof, an oof.
You never know when Hidetsuga's second right comes out of the darkness.
Yeah, I
You never
don't
know.
think they're going to have time for that. I think they're just going to be dead the next turn. My powers of premonition say we're probably going to see a
Yeah,
crater hoof behemoth.
They
Wait,
needed
you
a
have
bulk
powers
for
of
the elf.
premonition too?
No, I don't per se have powers of premonition, but my intuition is generally pretty decent. And it's like, well,
Lowman's
forgetting
just-
what else.
Lowman's actually
is a
playing
pointed
both of those
card.
decks at the same time.
Low man's playing that magic.
I actually just have a bazillion username.
Yeah.
Turns out Loman has been single-handedly
Loman is the entire tournament.
propping
Yeah.
this
Loman is
tournament out.
actually all of us. He's
Yeah.
really good at like
Basically all
doing
Loman.
voices.
Oh my
That's
god,
one-
He can,
Yeah, that's one way of guaranteeing
Yeah.
a tournament win.
yeah.
whenever he beats a person at Magic, he steals their voice.
Okay, this
And
is
the
a
count.
natural order is what this is.
Yeah.
This is
Oh
a-
boy.
This was kind of an interesting way of playing this game if they didn't have the hoof in hand, but it doesn't matter. I mean, that's a natural order. It's it's a 4-mana hoof. So
I mean, they tried so hard to lose it all, but in the end, it didn't even matter.
thanks.
I'm interested in seeing
Mm-hmm.
JPS's deck though, because I don't look at mono red goblins usually.
Yeah, Mono Red Goblins is the obviously it's a more aggressive build of
Yeah.
it. I do think there is a Kratzy style build. The ones that I think are really interesting are like the Goblin decks that have like infinite combos in them. They have like the straight up like kind of just like beat you down synergy based utility based hands, but they're not playing a mono red version. They're playing a black red version of it. They just showed us their hand. It had Auntie and it had the
Oh, really? They are black red.
Yeah, they also had the what is the one that does damage equal to the first card you cast?
Munitions expert.
No.
Wild Smasher.
Vile
Yeah,
Smasher.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
I'm high on Vile Smasher.
I don't
Vile
think it's
Smasher-
right, but it's a cool card.
Do you mean in the
I-
drug sense
I'm
or
just
in like?
Hell
Vile
yeah.
Smasher is dependent on.
All right,
what
you
everyone
guys
else
keep
is playing.
bantering. I'm putting in the results. So I have post the
What do you think is in those wilds?
the classic
I know, I
the rankings for after
Yeah,
this
my
week,
deck
so-
started out mono red and then kind of morphed into a black red deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you have the list available? I'd love to take a look.
I do. I can if JPSS is fine with it, I can ship it to you after we're done.
I Don't know
yeah,
if I sent a list in. I didn't get it completely finished.
I had a list
Mink
for you. I
Chun-
don't know if it's the current one, but
Joke's on you, Red Mage. I just sent you a list with 100 Darksteel relics in it.
No, Ming just says the deck back with 100 Withering Boons in the deck.
Yeah, no, I don't know, but like, so on Vile Smasher, I do think she definitely belongs in a bit more of a slower. Like, this is something I want to try and have been slowly testing out. Is a bit of a slower, more mid-rangey goblins build, less of the
Combo
bad
goblin?
one drops. Like, I've been wanting to try a DT spread.
Yeah, I can see that. Like you talking like what, like the fast mana plus the
Mana Crypt. Yeah.
Yeah, Mox
Yeah.
Mox DT.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
fine. That's actually you're saying DT, Demonic Tutor.
Yeah.
I thought you said D&T. I was like, oh, like a Death and Taxes spread, like the fast mana. No, that's actually the spread that I run in my black-red version. I really like it. I also run Demonic Consultation in that build, and I've liked that too. I think it's a weird one to run in that. But I also started liking that in Kratz, because there's a lot of like weird 2 and 3 card combos you can have in those decks, and like it's generally just worth the risk of like possibly losing if it's in the top 6 just to find it and win on the spot.
It's also hard because in just black-red, if you're not splashing green for Grumgully, you can't tutor for Metallic Mimic.
Yeah.
Because it's not a goblin in your deck.
Correct, yep, that is true.
Also, this list wasn't running Recruiter because I couldn't find one on Magic Online.
Are you?
I've resorted to that before of not being able to find the right goblin.
If you're going for a more grindy version of Black Red Goblins, are you playing like Unearth and Reanimate for?
I would, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm running those to my list as well because it's more Goblin or Kratz. It's kind of like what I try to build. It's not as mid-rangey, but it's more Kratzy. So it has those effects. I think it's also running like some non-goblins in there. Like I like Judith in that deck. I think Judith's really good.
Oh yeah, Judith's amazing.
Sweet.
She's also just aggressive. Like you can just kill people with her, and like, and if you don't kill them with her, you can combo them with her, and she always kind of demands an answer. The one card I forgot that Mink didn't mention was Pashulik Mons, which is just a beating of a card. That card's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Pashulik Mons is just stupid. You're just like, I just forgot it existed, and I was like, oh yeah, this card came out in Modern Horizons. A set of cards that I wish I could forget in some ways, but
yeah, when I was looking through for like the year end of like what cards did my deck get in 2019, I forgot how many goblins Modern Horizons had.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Sling
a lot of them
Gang,
in there.
Pashulik
Sling
Mons.
Gang, Putrid, better
Putrid's
art for
not-
Goblin Matron.
Putrid's not. It's a funny one to mention because like you would think that would not be like. It's a 2/2 persister, right, for 2 mana, and kind of an off color for goblins. Typically, you want red goblins, but I mean black ones are the closest next pairing. But the card's just funny from the standpoint that like it offers a lot of combo potential with other goblins, like because you have this Grumgully combo where you can just keep bringing this dumbass back and doing damage to folks, or Murderous Redcap's the other one that actually just literally kills them, but you can kill people basically with the persist combo on the Putrid Goblin because you have the 2 Sledders in the deck that'll just pump things in like max. Skurg Prospector to make infinite mana.
Yep, and then you sack it into Grenzo, dump your deck.
Sure, yeah, draw your whole deck, or like we're talking. I think I was talking to you about Click Slither at one point in time, which is like a card that is not a goblin that you don't see that often anymore. It's a triple red 1, 3/3 haster with trample. I want to say, or it's a 3/3 haster in a minimum, but. Yeah, but you can sacrifice a goblin and it gets +2/+2, and I believe gains trample. May not gain trample because it's an old card, not that powerful. But it's another sack outlet that just gets huge and kills people really fast. So a lot of sack outlets.
I was thinking about running that.
Pardon.
Yeah,
I was thinking about running that.
You can just ping someone forever.
Yeah. Goblins has a lot of ways if you just kill a bunch of things to win. Because there's Boggart Shenanigans, the enchantment that pings the player or planeswalker when a goblin dies. There's Pashulik, there's Judith, there's Sharpshooter.
Loring, if you're in the call, is the deck list for you the same as last week? Like is the link Is it the same link as last week, or did you make? Because I see that you made your deck a lot more aggressive. I don't know if you coined. Excuse me.
Yes, it is the same link.
The same. Is it the same link? Okay.
And the week before that too.
As 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. It's one that. Okay. It's called Big Bad Aggro on Top Town.
Yes, because it is big bad aggro.
Sure.
That's just what it is.
Hell yeah! That's what names do. They name things.
Also, yeah, JPSS, I would like a deck list to put on record.
What you saying, Brams?
Okay, I'm trying to get it. I'm putting it on the tournament discussion when I get it.
Yeah, take your time. You can also just DM it to me.
Hey, Red Mage, I'm gonna go ahead and call it quits right now. I definitely appreciate you guys having me on. I'm assuming you're just going to closing.
I'm gonna be closing soon. What I'm doing is kind of buying time for until I'm inputting the results so I can post the rankings.
All right, I'll hang out for a bit then. That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I can. That's why I haven't said anything for a while. I'm kind of furiously putting stuff in.
Stuff to do. Sure. Yep. So, anyways, we do have the actual finals up next week, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking next week. I'm gonna talk to the players, see when they are free.
So what?
Sorry.
What are we doing?
I'm gonna be talking to the players to figure out exactly.
Or episode amount points.
I'm sorry. Someone asked a question. What was it?
We're doing top X points. Top X who have a certain amount of points.
I believe historically they've done top 5, but it sounds like Red Mage may be posting some stuff relatively soon, so that we can determine with the players that
the idea. If we're running it exactly the same as the season 3 and 4, it's gonna be a top 5 double elimination gauntlet. We might be changing a couple things around. I'm not so sure. So I'm gonna talk to the top 5 players, see what they think, and see exactly what's going on there. But ideally, yes, that's what's going. That if we're gonna run in the same way, then yeah, we're running. It would be a top 5 double elimination gauntlet.
Oh.
Yeah, this certainly looks like a Goblins list.
My professional opinion on this list. Definitely runs
there are goblins in it. Yep.
I've been playing goblins my whole life, and I'll tell you what, this list here sure as hell got some goblins in it. Got a goblin snowman in here. Got a goblin sledder.
Snowman. Someone's running snowman.
No one runs that card. Although the hot tech that like I honestly had forgotten was a card because I played it as a kid in a goblins deck. Because goblins has been a deck since like basically Fallen Empires came out. Because the Dark had a bunch of cards that were goblins. Fallen Empires had it. A bunch of cards that were goblins. Is Goblin Surgeon? The card's really busted.
Oh, it's not
you
surgeon,
mean Goblin
it's
Chirurgeon?
Yeah, the Chirurgeon.
Whatever you want to call it, guys. It's a goddamn surgeon. I mean, it's a body part, chop shit up.
I mean, he's
It's the
literally
same job.
sawing off one leg to give to another goblin without a leg.
Yeah, but it's a free sack outlet, which is huge.
Yeah,
Mink likes that card in EDH. I don't know about Canlander.
I don't play it in Canlander just because it's a 0-2. If it was a 1-1, 100%. But having 0 power, even with all your lords.
I honestly think its ability is very relevant from the standpoint that yes, well, it does not attack in matchups that are going to be running red removal, which red removal is very popular in the format.
Yeah.
Or just like cheap black removal, like abrupt decays and whatnot. Like none of that says like cannot be regenerated outside of Incinerate, which is printed. Hey, go figure, a set right after it. So like that card protects your combo pieces if you're more of a combo oriented or aristocrats oriented build of the deck, right? So I kind of like it. Like I think it's actually kind of slick. But you're not wrong. Like if you're playing against like another combo deck that's really fast, it kind of sucks because like it's not pressure.
Bailite 1-2-0, right?
Yeah, I believe they obliterated Blahguy. Unfortunately, I think it was a pretty fast set of games. Mulligan to 5 on Blahguy's part with no mana in game 1, and then just got ground out in game 2.
Yeah, they were on 6 in game 2 as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Today was a good day for Turbofog. I won half the matches.
Yeah.
The other half were mono red.
2 matches.
Yeah, you lost to mono red. Well,
we had a few mono red decks today. We had
you know what the
a
tech's
few.
going to be? You need to put in there. You need to put a story circle, or if you want to go real techie, put
Dragon Claw.
No, that's one. But Rune of Protection red. Rune of Protection.
Oh yeah.
We just cycle it off. You know, when you don't need it.
My favorite moment. I mean, technically, my favorite games were against loading, where I won with Approach of the Second Sun in the first and the second game.
I think the dankest include would be Tivadar of Thorn.
Doesn't sound.
I've actually played that.
Firewalker.
I played that card before in 100 card singleton, which was a sideboarded format to kill goblins, and it worked pretty well.
I've only ever played it in Time Spiral Draft.
Well, man,
100 card was a weird environment. Like it was a while ago before it only got killed, and like goblins was a really good deck. And if you were a white deck, sometimes you sideboarded that card in. You know, it was just a different time, and it was very good because like a 2-for-1 back then is fucking amazing. Now it's like every card does 2-for-1s now. So
what was the result in Evios versus Lucas?
What?
I don't know.
How did your Luca? How did your match with Evios went?
I won 2-1. Yeah, 2-1.
Okay, thank you.
Right. I do have to head out. It's been fun chatting with y'all. Always glad to talk about goblins.
Yeah,
most certainly.
I'm about done anyway, so we should be pretty much close to wrapping up.
All right, man. Thanks for bullshitting, man. I'm glad I managed to con you into getting into the booth, talking, and not doing important for folks who need help out there. But I hope you are able to do that with the rest of your day.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, take it easy, bud.
Yeah.
All right.
Later.
This was the best tournament I've ever been a part of, and all of you are amazing people. And I
except Lowman. But
you should do is you should go back and listen to my opening comments when you were. You should go back and listen to my opening comments before you jumped into gameplay. Just saying. It was great.
Day was great. Like, this was.
I can't wait to look at the video and then find where you live.
I'll tell you where I live, bud. You come here
It's easy to
anytime.
find where he lives. It's already posted.
Yeah. No, I've straight up told people on the internet where I live. I don't care. Come over.
I'm fairly certain if you just
Wanna
search
play some
Mormon
old
comments
school?
and type the word street in the search bar, you'll find his address.
Yeah, you could find where I live.
Because I know he posted it.
I posted it before. Like I don't care. Like
We should have a full like.
We should go and
show me the fucking door.
What's that now?
Well, no, you just prepare like 10 old school decks and like.
No, I'm just saying from like the standpoint of like internet docs. I don't care. If you really want to come get me, like come on over, come get me. Like,
no, I was making a joke. I was making a joke.
I know you were, but I just say
I don't actually hate you.
I hope not. That would suck. I would have done anything to deserve it.
So, like, the standings for this specific week have come out now.
Do we have any changes to the status quo, or is it pretty much?
There was a scrum. I'm still putting the results in.
Yeah, where it's gonna matter is 4 and 5. Like, I don't think 1 through 3. Really
yeah, no, 1 through 3 were pretty locked in, but
and I think 4 and 5 were basically if they came out in the same matchup percentages, I think they were pretty close to because they were both playing here. You're gonna end up with the same ranking structure, be my guess, but we'll see.
Yeah. I see Luca is also helping me in the spreadsheet a little bit, so I have to
trying
see
to get it done as fast as possible.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. We should try to just.
Yeah.
I'm just sad I never got to play against Croc.
Well, you could ask Croc for a game now. Croc, are you still around? Loading wants to duke it out.
Wait.
Hey, don't confuse me and Necro.
I'm much better.
Well, I don't think I'm confusing you and Necro. Necro's talking. They said they wanted to face off with you, Croc.
Yeah, and then you said loading.
I didn't say that.
Yes,
I promise.
Yes, you did. But
oh, okay. Well, if I did, I did. I don't think I did.
Real difference, you know.
I know who you are.
What'll be interesting?
Except when I'm in chat. Like, I guess
Yeah,
evidently in Discord, I F up because I thought for whatever reason I thought you had guessed whatever that stupid card was from Tempest Block.
What'll be interesting here is loading was 4, but then went 1 and 3.
Evermist dropped. Should I give them? How many losses did they actually have?
It doesn't.
2 or 3?
It doesn't matter because losses, not like losses loses point, but yeah, 3.
Sure.
Like the number of points is the same if we even put 1, 2. Like the number of points they get is gonna be the same if they go 1, 2, 1, 3. But yeah, let's just keep them 3.
Necro, if you want more games, I'll play you too.
I need a break from you. You seem to have this thing I would like to call you beat the shit out of me every time we play.
Hey, listen, you can't say that I try to do that. Like I played a different deck every time we.
I know.
We have E-stream.
I think most people have that situation with Lowman.
I don't know. I mean,
it seemed to be a common issue for people that.
I have a common issue of Wasteland turn 1, and I still can't get over it.
You're not wrong there. I have a very high probability of drawing a Wasteland turn 1 against you when I play you.
That's because he's been playing 5 Wastelands in all of his decks and be waiting
that's
for
true.
people
Like,
to
I
see if people
basically
notice.
And I cheat in my games of 100 cards.
Not only do you play more than 1, you play 5 somehow in an online client that wouldn't allow you.
I broke the client, so yeah, obviously in non-free games, I'm able to play 5 Wastelands.
We got into a minute on camera.
Well, that's why we let you do it, because it's impressive.
How does he always have it? No, there was like one game I played against against Necro, where like it was totally not right for me to Wasteland on turn 1, but like they were like talking about it and like how like they always hate when I Wasteland turn 1, and like I had it in hand and I was just like, you know what, like fuck it, like I'm just gonna Wasteland in turn 1.
This is truly always the optimal play.
Yeah, because they were talking about it. I'm like, I'm just gonna do this because like
get him just a little.
Well, I also figured it may like just make them be like, "What the fuck? Like, how do you always have it?" And I was like, "All right, maybe I can like get in their head a little bit here."
No, that wasn't the worst case when you like got the worst game was definitely against the stupid Battle
No, because like the Battle Witch was one of the better ones. I think Owling Mine was good in Battle of Witch is really good because like Battle of Witch, you just got me in game 1, and I was like, all right, well I'm dead. And then you were like, "Oh, finally, I'm gonna win." So you said something that was kind of like some braggadocio stuff. And I was like, "All right, bud." I was like, "I'm gonna use my powers of premonition. I see the future, and right now you're losing the next 2 games of this game." And like, you lost the first one, and then like you were like all pumped up, like, "No way, no, I'm not." You lost the first one, the second game, and then you were like a little bit like, "Oh shit, like I could fucking lose this to this stupid fucking 240 card deck." And then yeah,
it's not a stupid deck by any means. It has a lot of good cards. It has a lot of good cards in it.
Has a lot of cards in it. Has a lot of cards in it.
Also, it was blue. Like, being blue is one way you beat me, like, almost 100% of the time.
It's almost like blue's a good color.
Well,
Yeah.
it's also exceptionally good when you're like attacking the game along a narrow axis, but it just allows you to just like hammer them along that narrow axis because it gives you a lot of choices. So yes, blue is very good. I mean, another reason, blue gives you a lot of choices in how you play a game too. Like if I'm playing like white weenie, like I basically just play my hands out and they play themselves, and it doesn't matter if I'm any good at the game or not. Huh?
Splash blue for recall, anyways. Play mono white, splash blue for recall.
I don't really tend to do that. Like people like equate me as being like a recall player. I don't play recall that much. Like I think it's just because like I always seem to have it, or like I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's just when you fight me, but there's this overwhelming aura where you just like absolutely destroy anything in front of you.
After some amount of having to punch things in, I have the results for I have the final results for this season put into the spreadsheet. So here is what we're looking at. We're looking at Bailite continuing his dominant performance, scraping towards the 60 point limit. That's almost twice as many as Blahguy, our second contestant, which is still has a very respectable 35 points. Secret Pipesman, who has kind of stopped showing up for the second half of the season, but his consistency and results in the first half were good enough to lead him in first place up until he stopped showing up, and then it turns out it was still good enough to be at 27 points. Loading knocking at the door with 24. Sorry, Luca knocking at the door with 24 points. Loading with 23, and then there's a big drop until we reach a scrum in like the mid-teens with Evermist and Einstein and Derniki, kind of like Gozmit, all kind of close to each other. So I think that the cut to top 5 still makes a lot of sense in this season with these 24 with this gap between 23 all the way down to 16. So it looks like our finalists for this season are gonna be Bailite, Blahguy, Secret Pipesman, Luca 0403, and Loading. So congratulations to y'all. How do you feel? How do you feel about this incredible success?
It's been a good season.
I'm sorry, I changed the thing. It's been a good season. We have had the most players that we have ever had, like consistently throughout the season. We have had the search for. We have had some people. We have had some people do the. We have some people doing testing for like the position of second co-host at the beginning. That has kind of hit a bit of a halt here for because of the whole coronavirus thing, which is a problem. But we have some people lined up there. We've had a kind of a stride in terms of make sure that we have been running each week, even though at the beginning we've had a few weeks that I wasn't gonna be around. But the tournament is still running my absence, so that was really good. And we have been running for 12 consecutive weeks, fighting every week with no problem. So from the point of view of me as a tournament organizer, I think I am like safely like pat myself on the back on this one, and everybody else that help with this tournament, Loman, Luca, Gozmit, all of these people that helped making sure the tournament would run every week in time. So yeah, big props there. In terms of the gameplay, Bailite, you almost lapped second place. Holy smokes, what's going on there?
I've been getting a decent amount of lucky, but I like playing a nice, well-rounded, flexible deck with some toolbox elements. So if I'm getting into a certain kind of trouble, I can sometimes tutor for it, tutor for a way out.
With that said, I want to remind everybody, !Discord in chat will get you to the Canadian Highlander Discord. That will get you information on how and when we're running the actual finals, which the default is we're going to be in the same time slot. We might not. So yeah, just take a look at that scenario to exactly figure out what's going on there. Also, information to how to join next season. Specifically, we're going to have a timing poll that's going to start running pretty soon, probably either later today or maybe tomorrow. So that is going to be your opportunity to influence how and when we actually run. When like for next season, like the time slot.
Hey, TRM, to verify, is there going to be a standard event next weekend?
No. This is going to be the last regular season event. Next
so we can expect as viewers is that there'll be a finals possibly at the same time, but at a time determined by the folks who'll be playing in it.
Yes.
Next, and then there'll be a timing poll. Do we expect that there will be a standard event or standard tournament occurring the following weekend?
I
approximately
believe we are likely to take a 1 week break where we don't run run the weekend.
I just want to verify that because I think at the end of the day that's the point on like if you're a viewer, like when should I be back
to recall? April the 12th. It's very likely we're gonna run the finals. Time TBD. We're gonna have to figure it out. It's probably gonna be next weekend, so April 11th or April 12th, depending on what the 5 people involved, what the work says for the 5 people involved. April the 19th, I do not think we will have a tournament. April the 26th, or possibly 25th, depending on how the timing poll works. That's when we come back. Your best bet to stay tuned is being on the Discord. There's going to be tournament announcements for all of these. I will probably also tweet all of these. My tweet is twitter.com/theredmage. I am posting that in chat right now. So you can follow me on Twitter, and you're gonna get all of the information via that channel too. So that's gonna be what the tournament looks like going forward. I want to thank everybody that was around today, that played today, that helped me with commentary today. Loman, your presence is always a boon. Not of the withering kind, and I want to thank everybody that helped.
Out of Mink, I would take that as a compliment. Out of you, I don't know how to take that, buddy. I mean, out of Mink, it's obviously a compliment. I mean, I gotta play that in a friggin' mono white deck.
I said not of the withering kind.
I know you said. I'm just joking with you. I appreciate you having me on, bud.
Yeah. It's always a pleasure to have you on, man. Thanks everybody that participated and made this season as awesome as it was. I'm really floored by how we fired every week, everything went smoothly. For the most part, bearing a couple of technical difficulties here and there, but outside of that, we did the thing. I think this season was awesome.
Yeah.
With that said, we have a bunch of viewers online, and we're gonna go hang out with Serge. So yeah.
All right.
Yay.
Take care, y'all.
Yeah. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye. All
right. I'm gonna sign the stream off. Bye.